Hello, hello, hello. We is on time tonight. I hope you guys are getting all those notifications to come on in. Let me make sure. Hold on. Hello, hello, hello. Let me see. It's 7 o'clock, y'all. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm on the rooftop. Okay. I want to make sure that the live is going to go public. Oh, did I put the wrong password in? Oh, well, first of all, okay. Hello, hello. As y'all come in, make sure you say hey so I know who's in here. Happy Thursday. Happy October. Happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think it's Hispanic Heritage Month. It's a lot going on in October. We have this thing called camp meeting that comes, leads into the 4th Sunday in October. So let me see if I can see what's going on. All right, we're gonna try to have some fun tonight. Y'all make sure that y'all use the hashtag conversations with the Shondas. Let me see. Okay. All right, I'm trying to make it live. Hey, 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 who that is? Is that Drea? Hey, girl, hey. I knew that was you. Hey, Drea, girl. Listen, Rashonda was talking about, she was like, girl, we just need to do a part 2 of the, I figured that was you when I saw the profile picture. I remember you changed yours. But yeah, there was a lot of conversation about the topic that we had on Tuesday. So I got a lot of feedback, y'all, about blended families. You know, it's sort of a topic that we don't often talk about, but a lot of us end up in blended families or blending our families, right? Because that was the thing too. She and I kind of went back and forth with whether the topic was going to be blended families or blending families, but it's kind of like the same thing, right? You know, it's just a suffix ending, but it's really It's really kind of like the same thing. Um, I can't wait for the future of these episodes and this time that we spend together chatting, because in the very near future we're going to be able to bring on guests and bring on people like our audience that can add their 2 cents into it. We definitely see your comments, we see your enthusiasm, you know um, when there's an interruption, we definitely get the feedback and everything. So make sure you share the live. Share the live to let people know that we are live. We are on time tonight. We are good to go. Um, and while I'm saying that, let me share with a few people. Tag some people in the comments. Let me see. Tag a few people. I'm inviting some people to join us. Join us. Make sure you guys tag some men in here too. Yeah, thank you, Drea. Get the whole family. Get them all in here. Tag some people that's never that you've never seen comment or anything like that. Have them join us. See what's going on. There's a lot of people that we know, that we talk to almost on a daily basis, that have blended families. And so, it's a good thing to talk about. And, even just to sort of prepare yourself, because there are some people who they may be getting ready to get engaged to someone. Maybe they're getting, hey Daryl, glad to have you on, Daryl. Listen, I love when the men join the conversation, because a lot of times when women are on things like this, or they're on shows, or are participating in conversations, a lot of times men think that it's not a conversation for them. But we as women can only speak to 50% of the conversation, right? Because if it's a heterosexual relationship. But really, the voice of men is absolutely needed in the conversation as well, in all conversations, as a matter of fact. Conversate when our first topic was what I wish I knew about life. I would be grateful to have a conversation with a man, and just things that maybe he wish he knew about life. And then from a male perspective, we did have a few guys on when we did the social media and your relationship topic, Daryl. We talked about that. We did have a couple of men on. Hey Jamont, what's up? Tonight we are talking about blended families. It's part 2. We're going to have a subtopic of cohabitating with your family. So, okay, there goes my partner. All right. Let me see if I can add you, Rashonda. There you are. Okay, so Rashonda's going to join us in a little bit. Oh, you were listening to Daryl? Okay, okay. Yeah. So, what do you think about that conversation, Daryl? About social media and in your relationship? What do you think about what are some things that you wish you knew about life? Those are some previous conversations that we were having. Go. Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl, hey.
I was just sitting here chatting. We got a few guys on. Make sure you guys are sharing the video and tagging some people in the comments. Um, I know there were some, a few people doing some social media fasts and things like that, but all of our day ones, make sure you tag them out there. We had a few people on Tuesday night, which is fine. Even if it's just one person on, we good. But we want to have as many people participating in the conversation as possible. How you doing, Rashonda?
I feel a little rushed tonight. Excuse my tardiness tonight.
You're not
I
tardy.
got off work late trying to overwork today so that I could work light tomorrow so that I could get home this weekend. So
Yeah,
I feel a little rushed. So my apologies because I'm trying to do too much so that I can make preparation for the weekend.
yeah. It's no rush. We're having a part two of the conversation on blended families. And I was just talking about, we as women can really kind of only speak to 50% of the 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 conversation because it in a heterosexual relationship, we need men on it. Like so Daryl's on, Jamont is on, um, who else? If you guys are on, say hey. Hey Shakina.
Let me share this with some people.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, go ahead and tag and I'll see who all's here. My cousin Demetrius is here. Hey Dodie, what's up, girl? Andrea is on. Hey Miss Celestine. Good to see you. Good to talk to you tonight. Good to see you on with us tonight. Let's see who else. Daryl said he's been on. He's been being consistent. He's been on.
Awesome. We appreciate that.
Yep. All right, let's see who else. All right, make sure you guys are tagging other people and you want to use the hashtag conversations with the Shondas. Conversations has an S. Shondas has an S. And then also hashtag the Shondas. So make sure you guys are doing that. I was just reminding everybody that it's October, so it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is Hispanic Heritage Month. There's a lot of stuff going on in October. We got camp meeting this month. Um, it's a lot of birthdays this month. My couple of nieces of mine. It's my 11-year anniversary. Let me see what does Google say else is going on in October. Oh, October is ADHD Awareness Month.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Listen, those my people. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay. Daryl said he can't help it because Dre be having us blasting in his ear in the bed, so he might as well be listening on the con. Listen, I appreciate you, Drea. I appreciate that. Hey, Michael. Hey, Cuz. What's up? Cuz, are you? I, did we miss the wedding? Michael, you didn't got married yet. All right.
All right.
Listen, they fighting in the comments. Oh, yeah, Halloween for those who celebrate Halloween is this month. Yep. I think one of my cousin's kids' birthday is this month too. Happy birthday. What? Oh, her birthday is on Halloween, Shakina. Okay, Ruby's 71. 71 where? Hey, Mika. Y'all make sure y'all tag your friends in, tag everybody in, tag your its, tag them in so that we can have this conversation. So the conversation tonight is blended families. It's part two of the conversation. and we're going to hone in on cohabitating with in-laws. But I wanted to see what other topics, when we're talking about blending families, what other topics, are there to discuss? Because there were a few things that we didn't have the opportunity to discuss. Okay, so Daryl said he has had a blended family since 2012. Okay, and y'all make sure y'all are using the hashtag conversation with the Shondas, hashtag the Shondas, and so let's start off this way. So the first question that you asked on Tuesday when we were talking about this was, let's just kind of revisit some of the conversations we were having, and then we'll move on to specifically cohabitating with in-laws. Okay, are you okay with that? Hey,
Yeah, sure.
hey, Auntie. Hey, Miss Terry.
Hey, ladies.
All right, and so the question you asked first was, when I marry someone, do I marry their family too? And so for me, my answer was yes. You really kind of need to be blended in there. Hey, Auntie. Hey, Miss Gloria. Thank you, Miss Terry. You always come so positive. I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you for your
Hey,
words.
Miss Terry.
Yeah. So for you, remind everyone what you were saying about when you marry someone, do you marry their family too, like their extended family? So we know children are a package deal. So if you come into the relationship with kids, they're a package deal with your marriage. That's a given. But what about everybody else? What about the mother-in-law, father-in-law, sisters, brothers, cousins, aunties, uncles? What about that?
I believe that you do commingle with extended family, but when it comes to the foundation of the marriage, I don't think that the extended family holds a lot of weight. That's just my personal opinion. Like in my mind, my extended family won't be making a decision in my household.
Ooh,
I just don't see that happening.
that is you know what? That's a topic that we really didn't delve a lot into.
Well, it's probably going to come in this in-law, because if they're living in the house,
Yeah.
then that would change the dynamic. Unless it's changing the livelihood of the
Yeah.
of the in-law, I don't really see where their opinion
Holds that much weight.
holds a lot of weight in the collaboration of the decision making
Okay.
in the house as it pertains to the marriage. Now, they may have say so in the house if they're paying bills or something like that, but if they're living there and you and your spouse have an issue, I don't think they should be getting involved with that. I don't think so.
I agree. So let's break some of that down. So Daryl says, yeah, you married their family, but there are some stipulations that go along with it. Daryl, enlighten us. Tell us what some of the stipulations might be. And I think that's maybe what you're speaking to. Some.
It depends on how you perceive that question. Because yes, holistically, when you marry that person, you gain their family through the unity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not denying that. But I am speaking on the fact of the institution of the family.
Yeah.
When it comes to decision making, the family, the extended family, should not hold any weight as it pertains to the marriage. I want to be clear on that. So I know that when you join in a marriage, you gain the family.
Yeah.
That's automatic.
Yeah.
But what I am suggesting is that if my mother lived with my spouse and my spouse and I had a altercation, I don't find it fair that my mother gets to get in the battle.
Okay. So how do we avoid that then? Hey, Angel, thank you for joining us. Make sure y'all keep tagging
For
people.
one, for one, you have the conversation, you bring it to the forefront before it becomes a problem. Because see, the minute you bring your family members, whether it be sister, brother, this, that, and the third, they're automatically going to be protective of you.
Yeah.
So they automatically are going to
Side with you.
you know, have this wall up that's going to be protective of their family member. But as the spouse, whether it be the wife or the husband, I believe it is your responsibility to set a boundary with your own family so that they don't cross
Ooh,
it.
I love that.
And then just that goes back to Tuesday night. Some things you're not going to know to address until it happens.
Until the boundary is crossed, and then you got to say, hey, this is my boundary. Going forward, you
Right.
cannot cross this boundary. I know you didn't know this because this is a new thing for you. This is the first
Right.
time this has happened, but just an FYI, this is my boundary. Hey, Auntie Nap. Okay, and then Daryl says keep people out of personal
Absolutely.
business. Okay, so let's say
I agree.
let's say you know, you for whatever reason, like my mother-in-law is 70 years old now. She and her husband are now 70 years old. You know, my husband and I really have been talking about, you know, potentially moving them in or us moving closer so that at least we could be closer to them, you know, in case, because you know,
Right.
they're both not in the best health that they could be in, but they're fine, you know, living, you know, the life that they live currently. But we've been talking about that. We've discussed that. And so let's say you have them living, you have a parent living in with you, and you and your husband, you know, not necessarily an argument, just a little tip. Let's say, you know, he forgot to pick up the kids and that caused you to have to leave work, or you had to detour your plans to go pick up the kid. And then when you get home, you know, and you're upset with your husband because he didn't pick up the kid, and that made you have to, you know, derail what you had plans to do. And you just kind of let him know, hey babe, you know, I need you to put it on the schedule. I need you to get in the habit of knowing that you need to pick up the kid on this day and this day because I have stuff to do, or I got a business to run, I have an appointments, and so now this is making me look like a bad business owner because I had to move some things around to go cover you when we had already you know, set up this issue. And so then you get home, you're just having a discussion, and because maybe his mom doesn't like the way that you said it, you know, maybe you didn't even realize she was listening, but she don't like the way you said it, and she addressed you, hey, you know, maybe you should pay more attention to the kids or whatever, you know what I mean? Because you know, we come from a community where women do think that women should do everything, and they have kind of spoiled these men into thinking that all they got to do is sit on the couch and watch TV. They get their plates fixed. They you know, they get to chill. They don't have to do a lot of cooking and cleaning. And meanwhile, we still got to work full time. I'm talking working 60 hours a week, run a business, run the household, and they over there chilling and living their best life. And all you asked them to do was on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you pick up the baby because I got something to do. So what do you do then?
Actually, you're asking me a question that I've never really had an issue with, because even my ex-husband was pretty dedicated in, you know, if I delegated him to do something pertaining to the kids, it took precedence. And definitely the same thing with Mark.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just hypothetically speaking now because I've never really been in that situation.
Yeah.
I would probably sit down and speak with my spouse about prioritizing.
Hey, Keela,
And, you know,
sorry. Hey, Keela, you're not late, child. We just kind of get started. Go ahead. So you would.
I would probably speak to my spouse first and foremost about prioritizing, you know, because the kids is a big deal, you know. Okay. And if we could not have a meeting of the minds and come to a common agreement, then we need to figure out. We need a resolution at this point, because if he cannot meet the obligation and I cannot meet the obligation on certain days, then we need to get a call to action going on. We need to be trying to figure out whether we need to put that child in after school care to cover us, whether we need to be trying to get outside resources to assist, whatever the case may be. Hey, Dr. T.
Hey, Dr. T, let's go.
so, so, you know, I would definitely be trying to figure out a plan. And even if we couldn't come to an agreement after the meeting of the minds, somebody would have to just take the initiative, because that child, you know, you don't want to end up in not picking the kid up from school on time. The next thing you know, CPS calling you know, trying to figure out, you know, why is this child being, you know, neglected or abandoned, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that could create a bigger problem. So, you know, I would nip that in the bud quickly. And then I would just be trying to find out whether, and we're this example is for a man being on the receiving end of being the one to make the decision about getting a child, but that could easily fall on a female too. So we just need to figure out what the resolve is. That would be my final answer.
Okay. So, and what I hear you saying is you would stay focused on why this sort of plan broke down. There was a break
in the beginning.
Yeah. So there was a breakdown. So in the moment though, how would you address the mother-in-law saying, hey, I don't like the way you was, you know, talking to my baby, your 40-year-old baby? But
I probably honestly would be a little thrown, especially based on the tone that person would come to me in. But truthfully speaking, I would have to take it back to even what you said. I'm going to catch the message. Because if the message indicated that you know, they felt I may have dropped the ball in my communication process, I'm going to go to the root cause of there. I'm going to be trying to find out, well, why do you feel that that was the wrong thing to say? Or why did your response or your perspective of how the delivery of it was that I was angry or that I was mean? And I would get to the root of that, because her perspective does not mean it's right.
Right. Okay.
So I'm gonna handle it in that manner. Just because you coming off and popping off about don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna readdress why you think it was an issue to come to me in the first place with it. And then if I'm wrong, because I am, you know, I'm not above reproach. If I'm wrong, you know, and I get clarity from that individual after that conversation, I will come back and say, okay, well, you know, my apologies. I could have, you know, addressed that a little bit better. My tone could have been a little more softer. And I will, you know, I'll soften my heart, you know, because I, you know, sometimes I do think in the moment. I don't always get it right. And sometimes I could know that I need to get it right, and I just don't want to get it right. Because you didn't even have the coof to even have respect for me and how you delivered it to me. So why should I?
So that little girl be at play sometimes? That little girl?
And do?
Ask me what I would say. Ask me what I would do. Go ahead. Ask me what I would do.
I was just going to do that. So how would you handle that situation, Shonda?
Well, Rashonda, I tell you, I have actually been in that situation. I have been in a situation where there was an issue that I was discussing with my husband, sort of in public, like, you know, around his family members. And he has some cousins that really love him. Like, they just think he is just a precious baby boy. And that, you know, this 41-year-old.
I love my cousin too.
I mean, this 41-year-old precious baby boy, you know, he needs help. He needs women to protect him from his wife. So, you know, I'm being.
Is that true, Shonda?
No,
is that
not.
true?
No, he does not. No, he does not. But he does.
Okay.
He does have some people in his life that feel like, when people see me and they see all of this, they think that I'm the issue. Like, I'm aggressive, and they think that because they know me outside of the marriage, they know that I'm a businesswoman. I'm a straight shooter. I don't play. Don't try me. All of that. They think that I bring that same energy into my marriage with my husband. And while I'm direct with him, there is still a respect level. And so I've had to specifically say to some of his family members, stay out of my marriage. I'm talking to my husband. I've
Right.
specifically had to say that. So whether it,
How did that go for you? I've never had to do that. How did that work out? And this was his family,
yeah,
right?
this is his family. This is his family.
How did that work out for you?
She kept on talking. She kept on talking. So I'm just so again, there are boundaries that you do have to set with people, and sometimes people don't know the boundary, like we just said, until they have crossed it. And I think, especially, remember, y'all, remember, my husband's mother has 6 sisters, 6, and 2 brothers. So it's a lot of them. It's a lot of women, right? A lot of female
Right.
energy. And so feminine energy. So and there's not a lot of men in their family either. Like, so the women are very protective of everybody, but specifically they're very protective of the men. And so
Mm-hmm.
the funny part is that my husband is attracted to me because of who I am, the fact that I'm a demanding person, I'm strong, all of these things. But when other people see that dynamic between us, especially if it's in conflict, then they go to trying to protect him. And my thing is, y'all don't know what happens when we're behind closed doors, and he don't put his hands on me or nothing like that. But my husband ain't no punk. Like, he can handle me. I wouldn't be with somebody who couldn't handle me. So even if I'm like, you forgot to pick up your baby, what is going on? I had something to do, like, because I'm not, like, I tell you, I say this all the time, I'm not always activating my higher self. I'm a human being, so I'm subject to getting frustrated. I'm subject to getting mad. I'm subject to, being annoyed, and especially if it's something that could potentially affect my business. Like in the scenario I was saying, okay, I got to move an appointment around because I got to go to the school and pick up my kid, or I got to go do something, and then you didn't do that. You forgot. And yet you're human too. You forgot, but your forgetting impacted me a lot. So I'm going to be frustrated, and I'm not going to necessarily all the time, 100% of the time, try to avoid that. I'm not going to, say, oh, I'm not going to be frustrated in this moment. I might try to feel my feelings and, like, I want you to know you frustrated me. But I specifically had to tell his family member, hey, I'm talking to my husband. Stay out of my marriage. And I've said, and we've said stuff like that in jest as well, but when I'm saying stuff
What does your husband feel though about his family, like when they intrude?
um
Should I not ask that
no,
question?
you can ask whatever you want. It is a work in progress. It is a work in progress to because
Well, is he in agreement? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is he in agreement that y'all issue is y'all issue?
I think if you asked him, he would say yes. But I think that he thinks that I can handle myself, so he doesn't need to step in. The instance in which I was talking about on Tuesday, it was with his mom. I tread carefully with her because that's his mama. Like, we don't gotta see his aunties, we don't gotta see his cousins, we don't gotta see all them other people. But his mother, that's a force of a different color. So I
Right.
can't just be like rah rah with his mama, I can't do that. So I told
Right.
him he needed to call her, and he did. He had the conversation with me, and then she called and apologized. But for other people, because this other family member was not his mama, this other family member was somebody else, and I was like, I'm talking to my husband. I'm talking to a grown man. So I don't be activating my higher self sometimes in these
And
conversations.
that's okay. That's okay. It's a work in progress. You're not going to be able to set a goal to do that moving forward, and it starts tomorrow. Like, first of all, you got to be intentional about wanting to do it. You got to want to do
Yeah.
it. Okay. And you got to also realize that somebody else's need to call themselves giving you a clap back don't mean you got to go to clapback mode with them. I know that's our first instinct. But you can command them to bring it down a notch as it pertains to you too, because you get to dictate how they respond to you, and you also get to, well, not how they respond to you, but you get to dictate how you respond to them, which ultimately will dictate how they respond moving forward.
Yeah. I said it like this though. Here's my tone. So I was like, I'm talking to my husband. Stay out of my marriage. I'm talking to my husband.
When you said stay out of my marriage, like that clause right there was enough for me to back up. Like,
that was enough for you.
But
that was enough for you. But I'm gonna tell you.
But listen.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was about to say, first of all, there's a lot of factors to this, and some people may not like how I'm about to break this on down. For number one, you got to look and see if that person was married. You know, are they even married? Are they qualified to even speak into my marriage? Okay, that's number one. Number two, just because they're a family member don't mean that they're qualified, because I don't know what role they play with your husband or you for that matter, but when you get to trying to break into a unity, and I'm not going to tread lightly here, because that even pertains to the in-laws, mother and father-in-law. Because if I had a mother and father-in-law living, and my in-laws are deceased, they were actually deceased before my husband and I got together. But if they were living, I would give them the utmost respect. But when it pertains to my marriage, all hands off.
Yeah. And that's the way that it should be.
Unless we invite you in for advice, counseling, etc.
Well, that's the way that it should be. But what I'm telling you, what I'm telling you though, is that my husband's mother has 6 sisters. 6. And so they have, gotten accustomed to, kind of sort of handling things the way that they've been always doing it. And so then when you introduce sort of a different approach, like, I know that's y'all baby boy. I know that y'all think that he needs some help, but he a grown old man. He's a grown man, doing grown things, right? Grown bills, right? So, so much grown that he married with a baby, right? So you got to let that man be a man. But some people don't see it like that. Some people see, that's my baby, that's my little cousin, and I ain't gonna have nobody talking to him any kind of way and his precious self. I ain't gonna be having that. And sometimes you got to let them know, whether that, and I wasn't trying to check my tone. I was just like, stay out of my marriage. I'm talking to my husband, so. So that's how I handled that. And it really just depends on the subject matter too. Like if we just talking about things, and I can find a way to say the same thing, but also, let them know what it is, then, we cool. I can say the same thing, different ways with different tones, different intonations, and it could be, met with a couple of different things. Thank you, Miss Terry, for tagging all those people. You guys make sure you're using the hashtag conversations with the Shondas and the Shondas and tagging people in there.
I just want to acknowledge we got 16 viewers watching at the current moment.
Yay! Thank y'all so much. Miss Margaret Myers is watching, I see. Toya, hey Toya, hey boo. And Bola was on here. Yeah, Bola, hey girl. I ain't talked to you in a while. My cousin Jacqueline is watching. Dawn is watching. Hey Dawn. Cheryl Moses Robinson is watching. Bernard, hey Bernie. What's up?
Hey y'all.
Look, Dr. T, look. If she's still on.
Yeah, pretty girl. Hey Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Okay, I got I don't know if we can add. Can we add more than one person on? Somebody's requested to be on the live. I don't know if that's even possible. I know you could do it on IG. I'm not sure about Facebook.
They was trying to like it and accidentally hit the request button.
Hey Stephanie. Okay. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, so cohabitating with in-laws, whether you now do you let me ask this. So do you think that the conversation or the way you handle it changes depending on whose house you're in?
Absolutely.
You think so? So if we were living with my mother-in-law and she had a comment about something we were discussing between the two of us. Now we still married, but we living in her house. You're saying that she has a right to still intrude in my marriage, even though we living in her house?
Yes, to a degree. And the reason why I say that is, suppose now you probably paying bills and all of that. I don't know the setup and the dynamic of why y'all even there. But if you're staying there with her, you're in her living quarters.
Right.
Y'all may raise your voice. Y'all may raise your voice and get too loud. It may cause a disturbance. Neighbors may decide to call the police. So now you're bringing the drama over there on her doorstep, and she like, I ain't having it. Y'all go ahead on about y'all business with that. Either y'all gonna lower your voice or y'all gonna get up out of here. So she got that right. You can't, just because you got an institution of marriage, you got to think about where you foundationally at. And if you in that lady house, you got to tread lightly. Now, your marriage is still your marriage now. That's different if he or she is trying to come in and tell you how to function in your marriage. But when it comes to, oh, y'all need to lower that in here, or, whatever, she has the right to govern her environment. It's her environment.
You
can't forget that.
She can go. Okay, so I disagree. She can govern the volume, right? She can ask us to calm down. You can't tell me to shut up, even in your house. I don't allow nobody to tell me to shut up. I don't shut up for nobody. I shut up when I want to shut up. Then you may be able to, say, hey guys, let's not cause a scene. So you can, there are certain things you can say. What you cannot tell me is that I can't have a discussion with my husband, because I'm gonna have a discussion with my husband no matter where we at. We can be in public, we can be in Publix, we can be in your house, your cousin house, your auntie house. I am still married in the state of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, Florida, wherever. So I don't care about where we at. If I'm having a discussion with Alexia Stevens, stay out my marriage. Now, what you can do in here, for people who disagree or need instruction, here is the boundary. What you can do is say, hey, Shonda, can I talk to you for a minute? Or even talk to your cousin after we done discussed, right? Like, you can pull me aside, but not while I'm talking to him. While I'm talking to him, that's between he and I, no matter where we at. It's a separation. Right. It's a separation of church and state. While we might be in your state, the church still say we. Yes. While we still in your state, the church of Stevens, LaShonda and Alexia Stevens, #Ron, is still between the two of us.
Well, all right. 10-4.
Wait a minute. We'll see these comments here, because I see people going crazy. Wait a minute. I missed one. Did I miss one? Hey, Crystal, I see you.
Hey, cousin.
Okay. My cousin Jacqueline said, that is a thin line to a degree. If it's her home, there are certain dynamics that could yield an intervention. I
agree.
Okay. Okay. Name them dynamics, cuz.
One of the dynamics could be if y'all up in there tearing up her darn house fighting. I can answer that. Y'all trying to run up in her house fighting, and she didn't work hard for her stuff, and y'all trying to tear the house up. Get the heck out of our house with all that fighting. Yeah, that's grounds for intervention.
Listen, I'm a lover, not a
be a Christian and you and Ron could be cussing everywhere back and forth, and she might try to put a team in there.
And is.
You know?
Yeah, and
So, yeah.
that's wild. You know, first of all, let me just say, my husband and I don't fight like that. We don't physically fight. We may verbally spar.
Right.
And really it's just me talking, because my husband don't spar back. He's just like, this is it. That's it. That's how he is. But I'm like, but hold on. Because, you know, sometimes that little girl be like, but I'm not finished the conversation yet. That little girl be like that sometimes, you know? So, but I understand that. I would agree. I wouldn't be in somebody else's house trying to knock his head off. Because, I mean, that's like 2 against 1. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in your mama house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to fight you, not knowing that's y'all going to beat me up.
That's a no-go.
Okay, let me see. What's going on? Some people are commenting. Hey, Erica.
I wanted to go back to what you talked about earlier with the dynamic with going to get the child from school and, you know, causing you. I had wrote something down and I miss going back to it. One of the suggestions that I think is feasible is maybe setting some tools in place, like setting an alarm on the days that you have a meeting, collaborating with your spouse, whether it be male or female. You know, use your Google or your Outlook or something to set a timer or an alarm so that you don't forget, you know. Because if we can keep business prioritizing, you know, the institution of family of a house is business. So schedule that time in. I do that on my work calendar. When I need to do something for the kids, I make sure to put it on my work calendar and schedule that time out so that I can make sure I focus on that. So that could be something that you can try. They can try, whoever.
Yeah. And you know, and that's a good I do love that you keep I want to give you this compliment. I love that you don't get distracted by the noise. You don't get distracted. The noise is this mother-in-law or other family member intervening. You keep your focus on the focus. I love that. That's a great thing. I have ADHD, so I'll be like, what you say? Hold on a minute. What you say? And then I get off the point. So that's good. Veronica, like, that's good, right? Like, you always keep the main focus, and you don't get distracted.
Right. I keep the main thing. And I'll tell you who taught me that, because I hadn't always been that way. This is a true statement. I have not always been that way. I have to give credit to my husband for that, because he is ex-military and he is very structured. But I've attempted to master this so much until my kids, and him included, they get upset with me now, because if I'm over here, you know, writing on my book, and, you know, because I've decided last week that I would go to the library from now on, just to get out of the hustle and bustle of the house and the kids, mom.
Right.
But there was one day the kids was in here horse playing. I think I might have asked them a few minutes to stop, and they wouldn't. And then I activated my blockers.
Yeah.
Girl, when I activate my blockers, I'm telling you, no matter what I'm doing, I could shut everything out. Somebody could be outside with a bulldozer, and if I just want to get in right and do what I want, and I have mastered it so much until the kids could be like, Mom.
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
And you gotta call me like 3 or 4 times before I tap back in.
Yeah.
And I've mastered it so much, so it's a little scary, because the house could be burning down and they could be calling me.
Yeah. But you know, no, but that's great though, because I'll tell you some of the pitfalls of not being or being distracted by the outside things is that. So now I done put you on pause. We done put a pin in this conversation, or this potentially, you know, this discussion. and then I gotta address this, and then maybe I done said something to to piss him off because I done said something to this person, and now we arguing about not what we talking about, right?
Right.
We arguing about something completely different because I addressed your family member when really the focus is you forgot to pick up the baby. And I had to stop
That's the underlying issue.
yes. So I see that. I see that. Now I don't know if I would be able to again activate my higher self and not address that because I like addressing things right in the moment. Like when somebody
Make no mistakes. And I've already then gave my disclaimer. I'm not going into my higher self at all costs. Some people you got to get down to the get down with them, and I'm ready for all of that too. So, I just want to be clear. I know how to govern myself, but some people level of ignorance, you just have to go right there with them in the moment, and some people need that.
yeah.
I want you to go back to what Shanika, there was a comment, and she made a very good point here. She said, I diverge that statement. You don't have to be married to have a voice to help someone who's married. Though, example, my sister don't have any kids, and she's a darn good mom, that most moms out there, wisdom and understanding doesn't come with a marriage certificate, though I've helped a few of my married friends through their storms as a single woman. Absolutely. I don't say that disqualifies you, but if you are a friend that every time something goes on in your friend marriage and you telling your friend to walk away from her marriage, you're not a good friend. Because when you get married, and this is just my humble opinion, I feel like when you get married, it's for better or for worse. And I've been in a few of my friends' weddings, and when they have gone through tough times in their marriage, I believe those first people that you should call is those people that you thought enough of to put in your wedding. These are the people that should be covering you if your marriage is having a pitfall or a storm, and everything don't negate a divorce or a separation. So, and I'm never going to tell any of my friends, oh, you need to leave your husband, or oh, you need to leave your wife. I would never do that. And I don't think that any friend that is encouraging their other friend to get out of the institution of marriage, unless there's some type of physical, verbal abuse or something, because it seems like this younger generation.
You got your hand in front of your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems like this younger, I'm sorry, I just got to thinking. It seems like this younger generation has a quitting spirit. Like, and I know that I'm divorced. Yeah, I mean, I'm so serious. Like, because one little thing could go wrong. Oh, he ain't cooking. Oh, she ain't doing this. And it's just, it's bad for the institution of marriage. And when you know the foundation of marriage is biblical and the standards that come with it, I'm not telling nobody to stay in a marriage and be abused, because hell, I didn't do it. But what I am saying is everything does not negate you walking out on your marriage. That's why you got to put in the work, put in some of the work.
I just think that we have
No, I'm not saying that apply to you, Shanika. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm just generally speaking, because the vast majority of the younger generations, they are, and I won't even say younger generation. I don't know. I'm not considered a younger generation, but what I've witnessed is that for the least little things, they are willing to flight up out of that marriage. And I think that you got to put some due diligence in. Now, if that other person ain't willing to put in the work with you, then you got to do what's best for you. I'm not telling you to stay and be abused now, but I'm also saying, put some work in it.
Yeah.
And that way, when you do decide to walk away, you can say you done your due diligence.
I want to be careful about. So I can have single friends, but that don't mean that their advice to me is always going to be to leave my marriage because they're single. I mean, not everybody wants you to be single like them. Some people like your spouse. Some people think that you have something worth fighting for. So not all of my single friends are going to be like, yeah, you need to leave that zero. They're not going to do that. So I just want us to, though, be careful, though, because we talked the first week of conversations with Shonda's about getting advice from people that are not authorized, right? Like they're not qualified. We talked about that. And no, not being in the same situation does not make you unqualified. But I do think that we should be seeking out assistance from people who are. So I'm not saying that you can't listen to your single friend. I'm not even saying you can't listen to your married friend. I just want us to be careful because some people's traumas may be informing the advice that they give to you. So I could have a single friend that tells me, Shonda, you don't want to be out here in these streets. Ain't nothing in these streets. So whatever you got to do, you make sure you fight for that marriage, right? But this dude could really, like, he don't have to be physically, verbally, spiritually, mentally abusing me for it to be toxic or for it to not be right. Like,
Absolutely.
So I think, yes, you know, we do have options, and it's okay to exercise those options. What I love, and this goes back to the want versus the need. I want somebody to want me, not to necessarily need me, because for me the want is so much stronger. And in saying that, I also like that at any moment, if I feel like this is not serving me, like this marriage is not serving me for whatever reason, you know, and I'm not getting what I want to get out of it, right? Regardless of the situation, I always have the option to leave. And for me, that's reassuring because I'm never stuck. And I think we have to be careful about, you know, sometimes telling people to fight, and you could be just fighting, and you could have been done, moved on, and found you somebody that gets you, that sees you, that you don't have to fight so hard with, that just automatically clicks it in place, and you could be holding on to something that God been wanting you to let go of, you know? So let's seek people who are qualified to help you. When we were talking about therapists, right? So, you know, go to a marriage counselor, go to an individual therapist, and, you know, figure out what it is. And, you know, I just think that I have some really great friends, and I know I have people that are not only praying for me, but praying for my marriage, and it's definitely something that I appreciate. I just can't necessarily take the stance that, you know, marriage is the goal, because marriage may not necessarily be the end goal for everybody. And then also, it just could not be working, and it may not even be any physical abuse going on. It could just be that we just don't share the same, and you might not find this out until you are all the way in something with somebody. We just don't share the same principles. We don't operate the same, you know, or maybe you just tricked me and you told me you was going to be this person, and then here we go 10, 11 years down the road, you a completely different person. Or maybe I ignored those whatever it is. I always know that I don't have to suffer, because I don't want us to always be the ones we got to suffer through. Lord, I'm gonna just pray for this man. Let me just pray that he just gets it right. Let me just, you know, just sometimes the right thing is to divorce him.
Well, you know, I'm definitely not going to be against that because I am a divorcee. There was a couple of things I wanted to go back and address. Somebody said something that I wanted to repeat just now, and it was talking about discernment, I believe. V. Shavana, she said, you have to be careful with who is in your ear, but also be able to hear the voice of God and follow. And discernment is key. Veronica Love, I'm sorry. Discernment is definitely key. I want to repeat something because I think it's worth repeating that my husband spoke to me about a couple of weeks ago. And I forget, we were on a conversation about something about parenting.
Okay.
And some kind of way we got on something about motherhood.
Uh-huh.
And he made a really good point. And he was stating that everybody is not cut out to be a mother. And we think about it, you could say the same thing as it pertains to fathers. Because, and when I say that, don't take a negative connotation with it. Because what I'm generally speaking and saying is, and he made a great point about it, you could have the tools to be a mother. You got your womb, you got your cervix, you got all the parts that causes you to be able to have a child. But do you have, and mind you now, there's no manual that comes with parenting. Let's get that established.
Yeah.
But some people just don't have the nurturing spirit. And that is something that, you know, I'm sure you can learn to nurture, but some people just are not naturally inclined to be a mother or a father. And I think that we think, because the Bible tells us, be fruitful and multiply. Do you think God designed, that's why, and this is no, I don't want nobody to come for me, because I'm not saying.
Don't come for her. Don't come for her. We're just talking out loud.
I'll put my disclaimer right now. You know, some women that are unbearing and some men that cannot have children, God has designed that on and in purpose. You know, and so when we think about that, we have to be mindful. And I'm not God to give nobody the right to have a child or not to have a child, but we got to take into account everybody's not wired the same way.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And I think that's in lockstep with what I was just saying. Like, you know, you might get into a marriage and realize, you know what? If this thing right here, if this is what I'm supposed to be as a wife, I don't have that in my wheelhouse. That ain't my ministry. So let me go ahead, bro. I wish you well. This just ain't working for me. So
my question would be, do you even want to be a wife? Do you want to be a wife?
That's one of the questions that you have to ask yourself. And really, it's a subjective thing, right? Because we cannot put a list of things. This is what a wife is, right? You can't put a list and say that this idea, this right here, this blueprint of what a wife is works for LaShonda, Rashonda, Betty, Veronica, Terry, and whoever else, right? You have to have, here we go with our great word, an agreement with your partner as to what that means. And I want to say this as a side as a sideline. A lot of times we be so focused on what makes a wife that we forget to see what makes a husband, or get to even discuss what is a husband, what makes a husband, and get their side. Sometimes, and I'm gonna say this, and y'all come for me or whatever, but sometimes men be so focused on finding a wife that they're not training themselves to be a husband. Sometimes they're so focused on,
I'm gonna tell you.
Sometimes they're so focused on finding a wife that they haven't even fit the qualifications on a baseline level of being a husband. But they out here, they want a wife, but you ain't a husband.
I'm gonna tell you two really good, and this is for even the women that aren't married yet and the men that aren't married yet, and even if you are married. My husband introduced this to me back in 2014. I think I probably stopped watching it for about a year now. But Marriage Today with Jimmy Evans, and I forget his wife's name. They have a lot of, they even have segments on blended families, which would be really good. And they break it down into various subtopics that you can watch. So husbands, wives, anticipating husbands, you all go and get yourself educated from a perspective of a couple that actually was on the brink of a divorce. And they had to literally fight for their marriage. And it was very humbling as they talk about and share the things that they've gone through. And I'm going to tell you another thing, when you made a really good point, Shonda, about men, women not really assessing
Yep.
to make sure that the man is ready for to be a husband.
Because we so busy
You,
focusing on ourselves. We be like, okay, he said he wants somebody that cook 5 days a week.
as we should, because the Bible says when the man finds a wife, that means we're already operating in the form of a wife. He ain't say when he find a woman and prepares her to be a wife. So you should be working, and I was getting ready to go to my next point. Miles Monroe is another good person to study as it pertains to the foundation and the institution of marriage. Because when you find your husband, he should already be working and preparing for you. And I don't mean physically working a job only. I mean, he should be having certain things in place if he's looking for a wife. So those two people, I know for a fact, Miles Monroe, matter of fact, I'll probably come try to drop the name of the segment down in here. Now, Miles Monroe is deceased now, but his teachings are still all across YouTube. There are books on
him, but I got him on Google right now. I'm seeing his face, so I have to go.
Oh yeah, he is. I believe he is in where is he at? He's in another country. I forget where he was originally from.
A Bahamian minister, so he was in the Bahamas.
Bahamas,
yeah.
Right? He's in the Bahamas. Yeah. That's right. He's in the Bahamas. Him and his wife died in an airplane accident. As a matter of fact, wow. Yeah, they both died. But he was a very profound man of God, and his teachings are very extensive. So those of you that desire to be husbands and wives, his teachings break down, that for you. So that's a great, I don't know if he talked about blended families. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I can guarantee you Jimmy Evans and his wife, I want to say her name is Karen, but they talk about
Jimmy and Karen Evans.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So they talk about marriage in its totality, and I would just put those things in my ear and just listen to their teachings while I'm doing my house chores or whatever else. And it caused you to have a different perspective on marriage and even seeking to be a wife. And I even think there are segments on there, when you're seeking for a husband and, what you should be doing to get yourself ready. So those of you that desire, don't just wait on him to find you. You should be getting in preparation. If there are certain things that you want to have accomplished by the time you get a husband, i.e. your credit, a car paid off or debt cancellated, whatever, because you want to just get yourself in preparation.
Yeah, but I even though we should be focusing on ourselves, I definitely want to make sure that we reiterate that make sure that the person that you're engaging with, the person that you are betrothing yourself to, is also meeting the qualifications, because sometimes we will allow people to sort of distract us, like you ain't doing this, and then you will go focus on that thing because you want to please that person, but then they're keep telling you, they keep bringing up stuff to you, but they ain't focusing on them. Because see, if everybody focus on themselves, then everybody gonna be all right. So if you focus on what you need to focus on, let me focus on what I need to focus on, and we have a meeting of the minds as to what it is that we want our marriage to look like. Because I'm a firm believer that my marriage is not gonna look like everybody else's marriage. Your marriage is not gonna look like.
And I don't want my marriage to look like everybody else. I want my marriage to be authentic and unique. I don't care to look like nobody else.
There you go. So having the conversations and not letting someone, sort of gaslight you into thinking that, you got to fit some level of thing. Like, was it Dr. T? I think we did some mantra one time where it was like, you are perfect and wonderful just the way you are. And there is somebody out there that's going to think that you are perfect and wonderful just the way that you are. And there's not very much that you're going to have to do to be in a relationship or a commitment with them, right? And so I just want us to just be very, very careful, to, be trying to be something for someone that's not really authentically you. If we are seeking, what's the word equalness, what's the biblical word I'm looking for, Rashonda? Equally yoked. Yeah, if you look
equality,
if you're seeking someone that's equally yoked, then if you got to put so much effort, you know what I'm saying, into like,
Right.
yes, marriage is work. Yes, staying married is work. Yes, having a relationship and living together and all of that stuff is work. But the base, the core, the baseline, like the shell of the thing, you already need to be compatible that way. You know what I mean? And then you
Right.
work out the other
Right.
little things as you go, because
And-
it's not
right.
going to be 100% all the time from the start to the finish. Like, you might be a even better person 10, 20 years. Yeah, the foundation, Jacqueline. Yes, yes. So the foundation of who you guys are as a couple, needs to already be there. You need to already have, those things in common, similar interests, similar plans to build and things like that. And I think this is where sometimes a lot of us get into trouble is we go and we ask someone, you know what? And I know I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna let you talk some too. I had a guy one time when I said, so what are you looking for when I was dating, right? I said, so what are you looking for? He said, LaShonda, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not gonna tell you that. I think we should just see if we are compatible by just hanging out with each other. Because once you tell somebody what you want, when you first meet somebody and you're first starting dating someone, you're in character, right? Like you're not all the way yourself. You're trying to be what that other person wants because you like them. You're infatuated with them, like you getting them butterflies and all of that. And I didn't understand it. And I was like, what is this fool talking about when at the time? But, as time went on, I got 100% of what he was talking about, because I can tell you that I'm looking for a provider. I'm looking for someone to have my back. I'm looking for someone to, intellectually be my match, right? And somebody will try and try and try and try to be that, right? And they will convince you that everything on that list that you had, they are. And then once they done locked it down,
they show you who they really are.
Show you who they are. And that can be potentially, deadly, because then here you are, married, pregnant, got a mortgage, and then you like, who this joker is? You tricked me. You know what I mean? And vice versa. I'm not just saying it for men, because women, we do it too. We will be up in here wearing all the lace fronts and makeup and doing all the things, looking great. And then, once we get to the goal point, we get there, it's like, yeah, you got me now. I'm gonna go ahead and just be any kind of way.
Like Dr. T said, they love bomb you in the beginning.
Yes. They give you all the things, all the good feelings. Oh my God, he's a business owner. He want to provide. Oh my God, he thinks I'm like, remember Portia Williams on Real Housewives of Atlanta? She was just like, he got a good job. He think I'm cute. Like, she was opening her legs as he was saying more things. She's like, yeah, we're gonna have a baby. That happens.
Right.
And then what happens? You are a cheater. And I didn't find that out until the stick turned that had the 2 lines on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that happens. But what you think about that?
What was the question? I'm sorry. Because I followed so much, and I was having my own conversation in my mind while you was talking. I was having my own conversation, girl.
Listen, it's all right, because I said a lot. I was just saying that, my marriages look different. And as long as you're in agreement with the person that you're in, that you're going to be in a relationship with, as long as y'all have commonalities, their foundation is built, and then, provided nothing changes substantially, or none of your core values change, then it can work. And definitely fight for that. But, you know, if you get into something and then people start changing, and I'm talking about changing core values, like you told me you wanted kids. We in the marriage and now you want me to wait. But I'm 34. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Sometimes people don't tell you the truth.
I think this goes back to asking all the right questions in the beginning. And they can be lying to you, they can, but at least you got an accountability to go back to. Well, in the conversation, you told me X, Y, and Z. And it's okay to revisit that question list, you know, every so often. And if you look like that relationship is not going into the, excuse me, I'm so sorry, y'all. It's not going into the direction that you wanted to go into. You got the ability to reroute that thing, or you got the ability to jump off that ship early on.
Listen, yes. Yes.
You got the ability to jump off that shit early on.
But you know, people like I think a lot of people are saying here, like people will just not tell you the truth. And you can revisit. I'm telling you, there are people that are revisionists. They could have said something in the beginning and had you believing that they truly wanted kids. This is how many kids.
Right.
And then when you revisit that conversation like you were just talking about, well, no, I didn't say that. What I said was, after a while, we could talk about it. Like sometimes people will, it's all it is, it's the gaslighting and everything. People will really just like.
Yeah, that's some narcissistic tendencies there. Because now you lead me on.
Yes. And you wasted my time. You wasted my time, and I've squandered my youth sitting here trying to play with you. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yes. I value the sanctity of marriage. I do. I value, you know, commitment and dedication and all of that. You know, I just think that, you know, some of us luck out, you know what I mean? And some of us mess up with some of these people.
I'm telling you, and you gotta kick in your discernment. First of all, look at the fruit that person that is going to be your potential person is bearing. What kind of fruit are they bearing? What accomplishments have they made? What type of self-development have they made? What you know, how they bank account looking? And I'm not saying you got to be with somebody for money, but if you're trying to build a future and build a legacy, and again, like I said, if y'all go watch that Miles Monroe, when the man found a wife, he should already be working towards a foundation. Yeah. Whatever that looks like to him, and there's nothing too big and too small. I'm not saying he got to be a multi-millionaire, be a six-figure man, but he has to have a vision.
You know what I love, what you're talking about? I need some tangibles. I need some tangible evidence that you are who you say you are.
Working.
Because
you working.
Because the thing about it is, like, yeah, you can have discernment and you can pray and all of that, but these jokers still lie. Somebody can convince you that they are one thing and they are completely the other. So I need some tangible evidence. Like, I'm gonna need to see a copy of your credit report. I'm gonna need to see this house and the deed that you say you already done own.
Now, everything that you asking him for, you willing to reciprocate, right? Because you can't ask him for. So
yes. But that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we get so focused on what does the woman bring to the table that we ain't even evaluating what this joker over here, you know, telling you you're gonna have this, and this, and he ain't got the first thing, or those things are in somebody else's name. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you could be driving that car, but is that really your car? Is that your mama car? So anyway.
Is it a rental car? Is it a rental car?
All right. So I know we sort of got a little bit off topic, but you know, the conversation is blended families, cohabitating with in-laws. But I do love that we always.
I want to read what Erica said. Not Erica, Shanika said. I want to read what Erica said too. Erica said he saved you from his misery, but you are definitely someone's good thing. Exactly. You someone's good thing. Shanika says, and we going to the doctor together. I need to know your health issues all day. Amen.
Shakina, yes.
Oh, Shakina. I messed your name up. Shakina. Yes.
I'm telling you, we'll have a whole herpes, and be like.
And I'm gonna tell you now, I used to work in the health department, and maybe some of the most finest things used to come up in there, and they wasn't right. Trying to tell you, looking good, smelling good, and ain't right.
Everything that look good ain't good.
Ain't good for you now. And I know it's some women probably look good too. It ain't good for you. We ain't gonna talk about the men and don't talk about the women now.
Your get up win and your sit down win. Okay. You or you over here telling women to make sure you wax, and you got a whole wig up under that thing. Like, bro, what? Like,
what in the world?
You telling women, oh, y'all make sure y'all wax because that hair, it draws, heat and things like that. What you doing with yours, bro? What you doing with yours? And we gonna get into some of these men who like real life be like trying to focus on the wrong thing. I think but that's another subject. Let's not even get let's not even get over there. So what is so if we were last talking about, does the rules change with in-laws having a say-so in the conversation or discussion that you have with your spouse, if depending on whose house it is. So if we in my house, it's obvious that you don't run nothing, go sit down, go back to the basement, go back to the mother-in-law suite, whatever it is.
But what would you do? Because we didn't talk about that. What would you do if they was in your house and try to intervene and try to tell you what to do in your own house? Talk about it.
I got to hold my bun and do it.
It's a no-go?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No ham, no turkey. No. Like, it's funny. And I am being, I'm being a little extra. I'm a respectful person. I really am, at the core of me.
Right.
But, there are some instances where I do get disrespectful, right? I do. Because, I think that a lot of people take liberties that they shouldn't. I think people get real comfortable with, because that's your son. Now, while you may have had that child, he is not a child. So again, stay out of my marriage. While that may have been your little brother, he's not a little kid. Stay out of my marriage. While that may be your nephew, and you think you needed to protect him, he good over here, especially with me. Now, he might not have been good with some other folk, but you better believe he good over here with me, because I don't fight. I don't. I would never. But protecting someone from accountability is not helping them. So
come on. Say that again, Shonda. Say that again.
Protecting someone from accountability is not helping them. So if you think that because I'm telling him you forgot to pick up the baby, and I'm saying that in front of you, and you mad because you don't like my tone, the fact of the matter is, and we're going to keep the main thing is you forgot to pick up the baby, right? So regardless of anything else, my tone, my volume, the fact that I'm in your house or the fact that I'm in my house, the issue is your family member was the one who messed up. And so a lot of people think that it's their job to protect people from having accountability on a lot of things, and that doesn't serve anybody. What that does is enable people to continue to not hold themselves accountable to anybody or anything. And it's so true what you were saying, Rashonda. You do, and I think Erica was saying this. You really do have to, especially if you believe in God and you believe in the things, the principles in the Bible. Okay, if you believe that the man is the head of the household, right? The man is he has to be accountable to God. So if you out here not doing that, then don't expect for me to sit here and be obedient to you, because you need to hold yourself accountable. And I think sometimes, especially in the conversation we're talking about with women in relation to men, like a lot of times, especially if we grow up in a house full of women, women think that it is their job to protect men from other women. And what you should be doing is teaching them, or they should be around men so that they learn how to engage with women. And
can you repeat that again, Shonda? Repeat that again.
I feel like a lot of times in when we're talking about these things, especially if you grow up in a house full of women, right? Women often, and I'm guilty of this too, because I have a little brother. And I'm telling you, we're going to rumble if you mess with that boy, right? Even now. But I had to check myself in certain instances, you know, in relation to his kid's mother, in relation to, you know, his girlfriends. I have to be careful about protecting him without allowing him to be held accountable. No, you need to be accountable if you did something wrong. You need to be accountable if you messed up. And just because you my brother, just because you my nephew, just because you my son, I'm not going to sit here and uphold that wrong thing that you did or that mistake that you made. But see, a lot of people, you know, they go to this thing, we family to death, in wrong and in right. I don't operate like that.
Right.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong when you're wrong. Go ahead.
As you should.
Go ahead.
As you should. I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said about the accountability and not holding, you know, them accountable for keeping the main thing, because ultimately what you're doing is crippling them. They will never, ever feel the need to be accountable if you never hold them to the accountability clause.
Yes. If you are.
And I think a lot of times men struggle with that. They don't want to be accountable.
No, not at all.
Men struggle with that.
And some men, you know, I'm not gonna.
Some men. Some men struggle. Yeah, I don't want to throw all of them under the bus. Some men struggle. Yeah. Some men struggle with accountability.
Yeah. And you know, can we talk about when you make a mistake? What accountability looks like, right? So if you make a mistake, now some mistakes you can't just apologize about, but some mistakes you can. Sometimes it's just as simple as, I apologize, I forgot, I apologize, I'm sorry, I was distracted, right? There are some things that you can apologize for. I want to talk about, you know, how to hold someone accountable, and what happens when you're being held accountable for a mistake. So, do you?
Some of the first things. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was just thinking when you said it, I was just jotting down some of the things that come to my mind when you're holding someone accountable. One is them acknowledging the issue. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes lack of accountability is pushing off that there is even an issue. So that's where accountability comes in, acknowledging it, assessing the problem, and conflict resolution is the things that come to my mind when I think about accountability.
Let the record show that my girl Rashonda said identifying the issues. That was the first one. That's what you said.
Acknowledge that there's a problem. Right.
some people don't even want to acknowledge that they messed up, and that where the issue come into play, you know. And we all make mistakes, we all forget things, you know. I have to set 20 different alarms to remind me, you know what I mean, to go pick up that little girl sometimes. I have to, when I was taking birth control, I had to set a reminder because I knew I did not want to have another baby. I wanted to take that pill on top. I set alarms for everything. And you know what I also do, just so I don't so I don't run into a situation where, you know I'm going to be doing something, and my husband, I will send him a text message every single day. Remember to pick up London. Remember to pick up London, because I don't ever want there to be an issue.
But you know what time you could avoid by having to constantly do that? If you know that it's even if it's not the same day and time, if you just mention that to him early in the morning or the night before and say, hey, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I need you to be the one to go get London. He could set his alarm every Tuesday and Thursday for the time when London, when London gets out of school, and you could just have that done. But I'm gonna be transparent moment. I didn't pick my middle son up from school today. He walked home. But guess what? He don't live far. That's a transparent moment. I was in the middle of a meeting. Mark had an appointment. My oldest son was at work. And when I thought about it, I was already 20 minutes late, and it only take him about 30 minutes to walk from home because it's a little ways. But maybe about 30 minutes. But he likes to walk because he's in 9th grade now. So I'm going to tell you, we live in an area where 85% of the students walk, because if you live 1 to 2 miles, well, first of all, you have to live 2 miles or more from the school to even qualify to get away.
Same here. Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of kids riding their bikes and walking. So, he's in a mainstream area. He's not in no excluded area. The police is on site, during those hours. So I was very confident, he's 15 years old now. So I was very confident that I was thinking 14, but he just turned 15 September 7th. So yeah, and I used to have that fear, but I'm grateful that I'm getting, acclimated to my area now, to the fact where I'm confident that he can walk home, because there will be days that I may be in a meeting, I may be even in another county. Yeah. Once we're able to start driving to these provider offices, I might not even be in my local area to even pick him up. So him being able to have that independency, and us being able as parents to even teach them, in case I'm not here, and just kind of have precautions and stuff in place, I think it's important.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think it is, it changes the dynamic when your kids get a little bit older, because then they play a part in some of those things too, right?
Right.
So, if they're older, of course, he's old enough to where he could walk himself home, right? But if we're talking about toddlers, 7, 8, 9,
oh, no.
No, that could be strange. And you had a transparent moment. We left our kid at the daycare till 7 o'clock one time, because both of us thought that the other one was going to pick up the kid. And luckily, because we had such a wonderful relationship with the daycare owner, because he was the only one, everybody else that was employees left. They got to go home, take care of their families. London was at the daycare till 7 o'clock. And so finally he called my phone and was like, Miss Stevens, London's still here. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm coming right now, And then I'm calling my husband, and he's like, oh, I thought you was going to pick up. I was like, no, I told, it was, we got our wires moved.
It was just a misunderstanding, and that happened.
Right, and it does.
But
the thing about it is, you got 1 or 2 times to show me that you are forgetful. And I will, then you're going to get these daily text messages, because my baby will not be at the daycare till 7 o'clock no more. Right? Like that. So that's why. So yeah, I don't know. I can't sit there and watch you hold your phone and put an alarm in. I can't make you do that. I can't make a grown person do that. So,
but in the male's defense, if you have been traditionally the one that has been taking that kid, and it's not in their, and I'm not saying that I'm not giving them a pass, but if it's traditionally been the opposite one, and this could go for the male, it could be vice versa, whoever's been predominantly getting that kid, and if the other one either, didn't work close to the daycare or to the after school, whatever, and that other person, it could easily slip your mind.
Right.
It could definitely happen.
Right.
But setting those measures in place, alarm, whatever, put it on your Google Calendar so it'll pop up. Got a meeting at the school, go pick up the daughter, go pick up the son, do what you got to do, because sometimes we get so caught up with life and the things that we're doing and the things that we aspire doing. We miss the mark on sometimes the simple things that need to take place. And it's not that we lack empathy in those areas. Sometimes we just get so overwhelmed with the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not making no excuses, but we are human, so we will forget.
Okay, so if you forget, right, and someone has to cover that, and you get held accountable, you said what that looks like is acknowledging it. Hey,
that's it.
I made a mistake. I got caught up. I was stressed, worried about something completely different, right? Your second thing was
assess the problem.
Okay, here's what we need.
So while you're acknowledging, you just see where you went wrong. That's you assessing it, and now you're going to go to conflict resolution. Figure out what you can do to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Right. Somewhere in there needs to be an apology.
Absolutely. Well, I think that should happen in the acknowledgement part. I think that's where that should take place, in the acknowledgement part, because now you just go on and take ownership. And, then after that, you just work on assessing the problem and conflict resolution.
Listen,
resolve it.
I'm going to read this the way that it came across in my mind, Cousin Jacqueline. Listen, she said, and we have to find common ground. Look, honey, we messed up when you forgot.
And that's true.
So how can we figure this out? That this doesn't.
How can we figure this out? I like that concept, Jacqueline, because when you think about your unity as a team effort, when you mess up, I mess up. So it ain't about pointing the finger. Okay, we didn't mess up. What can we do to get it right? You know what I'm saying? So that's a great way to put that. I love it. That
little girl in me won't let me say we. So you messed up when you forgot.
Become intentional and become intentional. Don't let the little girl show up. We trying to put her to sleep. We trying to put her to rest.
Why I got to be part of the blame? Because you messed up. Why?
Because number one, you already knew he was forgetful and you forgot to send that text, and this was the result.
That ain't holding him accountable, though. That is not holding him accountable. That's holding me accountable. I don't want to be accountable for your mess ups. I don't want to be accountable for your forgetfulness, because you need to do right.
I'm going to pray for you after this live. I'm going to take you in the chambers.
All of y'all pray for me.
Erica say goodbye to that little girl, Shonda.
No, Erica.
Don't worry. I'm going to pray that little girl get annihilated. We trying to see the lady rise up.
You know what? I'm going to have to let the therapist talk to that little girl, because that little girl be like talking to me sometimes, She be like, no, get him.
But Shonda, all jokes aside, that little girl be talking to me sometime too now.
No.
That little girl, that little girl be talking to me sometime too, because I still got these issues I'm trying to overcome. Now,
what that little girl be saying to you?
I can't repeat some of the things she be saying to me.
Okay, let me know.
They might be the law against me for the thoughts. Ooh, girl.
Me and Rashonda being transparent in this moment. We got a little girl in us that sometimes be like acting up sometimes. She be throwing a tantrum sometimes. Let me tell y'all, no lie, 2021, for my birthday, I threw a whole adult tantrum. on my birthday last year. July 11th, 2021, I threw a tantrum. My husband decided, I'm gonna just tell the story. I'm just tell you the whole story.
Oh my God.
So my husband, he knows that I like plants, right? Y'all know I got this whole big tower garden out here. I like plants, I like gardening, all of that. My husband planned this thing to take me to the botanical gardens on University of North Carolina Charlotte's campus, right? So I was like,
Nice.
we about to go to the botanical gardens? Okay, cool. Yeah, right? Face full of makeup. You hear me? I'm talking about foundation. I'm talking about concealer, eyeliner, lashes, eyebrows was done, lipstick, lip liner, everything. You know what I'm saying? Put even a little powder on it, because I was like, when I take the picture over near that flower, it's gonna be perfect. You hear me? Every angle.
Yes, honey.
Yes.
Yes, honey.
Yes. Girl, my birthday is in July. So and I didn't know this now, because I wouldn't have did all that if I had known. Part of it was in a building. The other part.
I feel the same way, Shaniqua. I'm over here clutching my pearls. I'm over here clutching my invisible pearls, because I'm like, oh God, what is she about to say?
It's documented, because I took a picture. Like when we left the house, I had my little jeans.
Shaniqua says, stop her, Rashonda.
I had my jean dress on, right? I was cute. I had untwisted my hair, because I was doing the 2-strand twist. So I was ready for my birthday weekend. I untwisted my hair. And when you untwist that 2-strand twist, girl be curly. And I was like,
yes, honey, I can't wait to let these out. Ooh.
So I had it going on. You couldn't tell me that I was not carrying you.
Yes, ma'am.
For my birthday. Girl, we get out, and I got on sandals. We get out there. This man told me, part of it was in like a building with the air conditioning and all of that. But the rest of it was outside in the Carolinas heat. Girl.
Makeup melt.
By the time we walked to the entrance of said botanical garden, all of this right here had my makeup on it. My makeup was no longer on my face. It was on my shirt.
Oh my God.
Girl, when I tell you, that little girl was on full display. That's all I'm gonna say. She was on full display.
Well, how did you, so who was you mad at though? Who was you mad at, Shonda? Let me ask you one question, Shonda. Did you put your own makeup on, or did you go to get an image? A makeup on?
I did it.
Was it applied correctly?
I did it. Okay? I did it. Okay?
Shonda said, I did. Shonda.
Hunty, let me tell you something. You know what though? I'm gonna tell you this. Now, that little girl was on full display because she acted a fool in the car. She acted a fool in the car.
Did you have changing clothes?
Yes, I did. And let me tell you,
Thank you.
I was so mad. I was in the car like, done messed up my birthday. And I was really about to let that little girl ruin my birthday. But I'm big on birthdays. I'm telling y'all, tell me happy birthday on my birthday, because I'm telling y'all, I'm that chick. Like, I want to be told happy birthday, and I want to celebrate my birthday. But he was so good. He really was. He said, he knew that I was upset. He said, so, we was going to get something to eat, but, we was going to get something to eat. So what you want to do? You want to get something to eat and take it home? And I was like, no, I don't want to go get anything to eat anymore. No.
Oh, I would have let your butt starve. You want to act a fool? Go ahead on. You'd have had to wipe them out all night.
And then finally something clicked, and it was like, okay, Shonda, you being childish. You can easily fix this. Go home, change clothes.
Thank God for Jesus.
Go home, change clothes, patch up this makeup, and go have a good time. But go somewhere where you some air conditioning, right? So I ended up going home, put on an even cuter outfit than I had on before, and he took me to a little tavern. And when I tell you, it was up. Like, I had a good time, had me a couple drinks, and it was a learning lesson, because it's like there's nothing that can happen that's just too big for me to be like, you know what, we can fix this. It's fixable, you know? It was a Saturday,
Right.
you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I could just go change clothes. I said this after the little girl went to sleep. I said this: in the future, I would like to know information so that I'll know how to properly prepare, you know, for things like this. If we're going, you know.
Well, was it a surprise?
It wasn't a surprise. I just didn't have all the information. I didn't know it was going to be outside. I didn't.
Okay. Well, when you say, well, now you've given the directive to want all the information, but did you give the man credit for at least planning? Because see, now you might make him scared to plan again.
I don't like surprises. I found that out about, you know, my husband threw me a surprise 40th birthday party. I found out that I don't like surprises.
Right.
Because, you know, while I was grateful, I really was, I would have loved to have invited some more people, some other people. You know, I'm grateful to everybody who showed up. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I got some people that I chill with real cool in Charlotte, and like they was real life upset because they was like, you had a whole party. I'm like, it was a surprise. I ain't know nothing about it. Like, they really got me. So what I learned from that situation, as well as my birthday 2021, is that I don't like surprises. I need to have all the information so that I can properly prepare. So we do that another time when, you know, we just chilling and I got my workout clothes on and stuff like that. So, but you know, I know what you're saying. I know the right thing. The right thing is he tried. He planned something, you know, and so I should be just grateful for that. But
yeah, because some men don't even plan their wife or girlfriend any outings and stuff for their birthday. So,
but I'm not married to some men. I'm married to yes.
Hello, somebody.
Yes. So, but no. I really should have just been mad with myself, because botanical gardens, if I had really done the research on that, just a little Google search and seen what it was, then maybe I could, so I can hold myself accountable too. I didn't do all of the research. I was just like, oh, you better take me somewhere, let me go, you know? And I could have done a little more, you know, I could have done a little more research, and so that wouldn't have happened. But also, I was glad that I was able to put that little girl to sleep and still end up having a good time with the second part of the day. And, you know, so, yeah.
That's good.
Oh, see, I ain't that bad. Cause
Look at Erica. Erica say, I'll be at your house with Dr. T's oil for that little girl. Get her 2 bottles, Erica.
No! Ooh, okay. So what y'all telling me is I need to go.
That's enough. Y'all get off my friend now. That's enough now. We was for a while last. Y'all get up off her now.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get the oil from Dr. T. We got to do something about that little girl. We got to do something about her. Since y'all saying she act up all the time, I have to do something about it.
Yeah, we got to do something about it.
All right.
What's your thoughts about in-laws living with you and paying bills?
Woo.
And you could be living with them or them living with you, you know, in either dynamic. It's no right or wrong answer. Well, it probably is a right or wrong answer, but right or wrong viewpoint, I should say?
For me, I don't know if I would ask not only my in-laws, but even my own mother to pay bills. You know what I mean? I don't know.
But
I
what
don't.
if you struggling? What if they come into the dynamic and your house is already struggling? Now that's a whole mouth to feed. You know,
Yeah.
they not working, so while y'all out at work, they home using electricity all day. They watching TV. You know, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if I would bring them into the equation unless it was going to be advantageous to us. So if we were already
Hmm.
struggling and there was a need for them to come, I would hope that it would be a financial need so that there would lessen the struggle. I wouldn't want to put anybody that I love, excuse me, ooh, into an already um, declining car that's headed for the ocean. I wouldn't want to do that. But
Right.
just in general, we good, bills is paid. We just need to have a little bit extra supervision over them to make sure, maybe there was a fall, maybe somebody's sick, and or maybe somebody can't get up the steps and things like that. I don't think that I would charge them. I don't think.
Now, my grandfather used to live with my ex-husband and I, and we never charged him, but he just felt the
Yeah,
need, you
to
know,
go do
to
something.
assist. Yeah, my plate was a little full because I would take him to dialysis 3 days a week.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of times I would even take my lunch break and go take him a snack or
yeah,
something if he didn't take something with him. And I even had to be careful what types of jobs I chose back then because I needed a job flexible enough to let me leave
yeah,
to go pick him up from
yeah.
dialysis, to get him to dialysis because he was going to and get picked up from dialysis during my work
Oh
hours.
man.
Um, and so because he had a lot of land, he didn't qualify for Medicare. And so we were trying to get all of that land he had out of his name because those was considered assets.
Yep,
Although he didn't have the finances,
yep,
that land was still a
yeah,
asset, and so it was causing him to not qualify for Medicare.
yeah.
Um, and he was on some medications. One medication was like over $200 a month, and he was on a fixed income.
Woo. Yeah,
Yeah, and so we got a caseworker involved with trying to help him, get that. And then ultimately, he basically ended up giving the land to one of my uncles that's put it in his
yeah,
name. It was another arrangement to that. That's
yeah.
none of my business. But he had basically put the land,
Hey, Carrie.
and I could talk about it now. I could talk about it now because he's
Yeah,
deceased. Uh, but he put the land in my uncle's name to be able to get rid of those assets and to qualify him for health insurance so that he could get that expensive medication paid for with end-stage renal. So he did live with my ex-husband and I, and there were times when he intruded when he should not have. Yeah, there were times, you know,
how did you handle
and
that?
I had to put him in check.
Okay.
Y'all, you my granddaddy. I love you. You raised me. I have nothing but respect for you, but I cannot let you dictate my institution over here. And technically, he was living with me,
Yeah,
so I felt comfortable. He respected me and my marriage enough to pump
yeah,
brakes. I think I might have offended him a little bit
yeah.
because when I did go for advice, he was slow to give it to me.
Oh, okay. He had done learned his lesson. He had done learned his lesson.
Yeah,
Yeah. And,
yeah.
and you know what? It's I think we need to in our community, and this is a good subject. I'm glad you told that story because I think once your children and grandchildren, once they become adults, right? And once they start living on their own, our relationship with them will change. So Will
Right.
Smith, and I'm going to quote Will Smith. he says when your kids are minors, right? You have to take care of them. Like it's like having a seed. You plant that seed, you water it, you give it
Right.
sunlight, you give it a little food, and it's gonna grow into what it already was supposed
You
to
watch
be,
it
right?
grow. Right.
But once that seed matures, you kind of it's not very much you got to do to it. You just got to kind of guide it. So you turn into just a gardener. You just got to, okay, I got my tomatoes out here, let me just do a few little things, but I ain't trying to make the tomato be a cucumber.
A cucumber.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we have to in our community get our elders, because they have not gotten this yet. We have to get some of our elders in the mind space that unsolicited advice may not be wise.
That's good. That's good.
And soliciting advice is one thing. So if you solicit, and what you were saying you did, you went to him one time and he was even, you solicited his advice. That's something different, and we can talk about that.
Right.
But unsolicited advice is not wise. And that's also, it can go back to the scenario I was telling about. Even if I'm in your house, even if you're in my house and I'm talking to my spouse, your intrusion, your interruption, your intervention is unsolicited advice. I ain't asking you. Now, once we figure out what we talking about.
Because let me stop for a few minutes. Put a pin right there. Because what that says to me, unless they're fighting or something and it's escalating outside of an argument, the minute you step in, you could be planting a seed of discord and don't even know it.
Yes. Yes.
So knowing your own boundaries when a married couple is arguing, if they're not about to bust each other head off and they going back and forth, because see, what I learned in counseling is all arguments are not unhealthy.
That's right. It's healthy. It's healthy to have conflict. If you ain't never got nothing to argue about, what are you doing?
Something is wrong.
Something is wrong. Somebody lying. If you ain't never got nothing, it is virtually impossible for two people who come with their own things. Here I am with my things. Here you are with your things, and we coming together to try to figure this whole thing out. Now that don't mean that I dissolve into you or you dissolve into me. That's just that we're trying to operate, So I'm still an entity all by myself, But you're gonna have some conflict.
But speaking of that, I remember Mark and I having premarital counseling, and we got into a disagreement about something while we were in counseling. It was perfect. It couldn't have been staged no better, because what it did, it allowed our counselor to see us in the act. And that counselor allowed us to play that thing out. And what we did was, Mark brought up his concerns. I listened. I brought up my concerns. He listened. We disagreed. We agreed to disagree. Yeah. And I remember the therapist telling us, she was like, oh my God, I wish I would have recorded that. Yeah. She was like, that was the perfect argument. Yeah. I didn't know it was a such thing. Yeah. She said that was the perfect argument. She said you both allowed each other the opportunity to speak. You heard each other out. Your responses let me know that y'all were effectively listening to one another. You didn't overcross boundaries with name calling. Like, she went in. And so now it kind of gave me a little pat on my back. And so now I want to keep that thing up. So now I'm intentional. I don't want to use, and this is a different counselor, but there was a second counselor that we had, which was a male. That counselor was a female. But we also had a counselor that was a male. And I forgot what the words were called that he told us not to use. I don't know why I want to say double negatives, but I don't believe that was it. But
probably
basically telling your partner.
Probably qualifiers. You never, or you always. Yeah.
Right. You always or you never.
Yep.
So now you're basically solidifying that that person can never get it
Yeah.
right, or they always doing something that's wrong. And so we have actively been working on that because we both use that. Oh, you never listen, or you never do that, or you. And so now we're building a wedge when we do that. And so the intent is to affirm one
Yeah.
another, to, you know, and it's nothing even wrong with saying. I remember, for a prime example, let me use an example.
What I hear you saying, was that the phrase?
Well, yeah, what I hear you saying is, I see where you're going. You're talking technique, but I was going to give an
Go ahead,
example.
go ahead.
So yeah, what I hear you saying is, so you want to reaffirm when that person speaks something to you, you want to be able to regurgitate it and say, so what I hear you saying is, and recapping your comprehension of what they said. But if they say, no, that's not what I'm saying, then you effectively listen so you could get the issue and you can focus on the resolution.
Ooh, that's so good. It's so good. And I love that. Did the male therapist offer anything to what, like, did you guys have an argument in front of him, or?
We didn't because we should have, because we went to the male counselor to find out how to effectively communicate with one another.
Okay.
And I struggled with my proper communication, not because of him, but because of my past traumas. And I brought those issues over into the relationship. Likewise, he did as well. And we both had previous partners that we probably weren't able to reach.
Yeah.
So we knew the next best thing is, you know, throw all these double negatives out to each other and all of this stuff. And so now we're piling trauma on top of trauma, on top of trauma, on top of trauma. And so we got tired of that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
We got tired of that vicious cycle. So what we did was, we knew that we were very intentional about making this last. We were very intentional about seeing us move forward and grow. We knew the things that we had done in the past and that we didn't want to see to reciprocate here. So we would just completely abolish everything, not abolish, but annihilate, if you will, everything that was hindering us. And so this last time when we went to the male therapist, the main intent for going to him was to find out ways to effectively communicate with one another. Yeah. And so I think we did a few sessions of that, maybe 6 sessions of that. We found better ways to communicate. We took the time to effectively listen, to actually be able to hear the problem. Because sometimes what I'm learning is, the problem doesn't come out as blatant as it needs to sometimes, because the other party, or even yourself, may not be able to articulate it in a way that is receivable, and you may walk on eggshells because you may not know how to verbalize what you want to say. You know what you want to say, but the way it may come out, it may be offensive to the other person. So you want to be cautious and careful. And so that is where we decided that, you know what, well, we got to figure out what we're going to do right here so that we can, you know, you never want to listen to just make a response. Like, you want to listen to resolve.
My cousin just said that. She said, we listen to respond sometimes.
Well, we listen to respond sometimes. Right. Yeah. Right. And it's funny that you say that, Jacqueline. She said we listen to respond sometimes and not to hear. I just talked to my brother and his girlfriend just not even 2 weeks ago, and I don't know what made me look that up. And I'm gonna do it now for the sake of what you just said. But there's a difference between hearing and listening. When you listen, you are intentional about comprehending what is being said versus hearing. And a lot of times we'll say, oh, I hear you. I hear you. But the question is, are you listening?
Yeah.
And I wanna just go there real quick. It says hearing is the passive intake of sound, while listening is the act of intentionally working to comprehend the sound. So we're not just talking about sound, we're talking about words, and words are sounds when they come out. So if you hear, you just passively intaking what you're hearing. But when you listen, you are intentional to comprehend. That's good.
That's good. I like that. And I think that is a huge problem in a lot of relationships, is that people talk, but no one really, not no one. See, that's another qualifier that some people don't hear. Some people don't listen. They might hear you talking, but they're not listening to hear what you're saying and to comprehend. That was one of the key words that you said.
Some people just listen or hear to respond. So they just waiting on you to say something so they can pop off with something else, but it don't got nothing to do with the resolve.
Yep. And some people just don't even want to comprehend because they already made up in their mind that their way of thinking is the right way. And so I don't even want to entertain what you're saying. I heard you say something, but I ain't really taking that in because I do not want to miss the point that I'm right and you're wrong, and that's problematic because, and then too, like, I love you talking about in the therapist's office, you have to repeat it back to the person so that they can see whether or not their intent was received the way that they intended it. And
absolutely.
And if it's not, then there's a breakdown, and you need to give clarity.
Right.
What you mean by that? You got to give clarity, because if you say something, but I heard something else based on whatever reasons, then that could cause a potential issue. This is good.
And don't try to force somebody to say, oh, well, what I hear you saying is, and that's just your preconceived notions about it. You could be, and you can be even looking at past situations and say, oh, I know what he meant by that, or I know what she meant by that, because something familiar from that conversation looked like it was something that could be getting ready to fester here. So you trying to cut it off at the tracks before it even get to you. But effectively listen and be able to get clarity when needed.
Listen, sometimes when we sitting here having a conversation or discussion with people, they thinking ahead of what you might say. So they already preparing themselves for any argument that you might put forth towards the conversation. They playing chess in their head, right? They're playing chess or checkers in their head. And they're not really hearing you, what you're saying, because it could be some little word. It could be some little thing about what you're saying that rings true.
A blockage.
Or that could ring true, and they would get it if they wasn't so focused on looking 3 steps ahead. Hear what I'm actually saying, not what you're thinking I'm saying, or what you think where I'm going when I say this. Like sometimes we be playing chess with our partners. I say,
we do.
I say, where are you on the way home? But I didn't ask you what were you doing. I asked you, where are you? So
where are you? Like, where's your location?
Yes. So it's because you don't really want to say where you are. Like, okay, I'm actually like 10 minutes out. Or, whatever, you don't want to tell me that you had to stop whatever it is, but answer the question, or let's speak into the present. What I'm saying right now, that's all I need you to respond to. Let's just compartmentalize that right there. If you thinking about what I might be trying to say, or what I did not say, or implying what you think that I mean, you're going to miss some things. You're going to miss some
Absolutely.
things. And you may misunderstand some things.
Absolutely. You can bet your life on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, okay, Rashonda, we at the 2 hour mark. So I know we're gonna wrap this thing up. I know we kind
Yeah.
of wanted to, at this part, like go and like maybe address some comments that we may have missed. Um,
Absolutely. I see Miss Celestine say, I so love this topic because counseling and therapy really work if you both are willing to make the marriage or relationship work for people who need that counsel, who need to know that counseling is not forbidden. Absolutely, Miss Celestine.
and the key part about that,
Definitely.
what you just said, it has to be an agreement between the two of you. Now, yeah, you can do individual counseling if
Absolutely.
that's what you choose to do, but if you're trying to work on a marriage, you can't work on a marriage by yourself. So if the other person is not
Right.
willing to participate, then that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. It's going to, it and when you're participating even in therapy, both people have to be wrong. Have to
Come on. That's a good
have
one.
to be willing to understand that they might not have the right answer. You ain't got the answer, Sway.
That's a good one.
You know?
That's a good one.
Yeah. What else we got?
Because everybody wants to be
Yes.
right. Everybody wants to be
Oh,
right.
and you know where I was gonna go. So some people live by this thing that says happy spouse, or what is it? Happy wife, happy
Happy
life.
wife, happy life.
Happy wife, happy life. And I was watching Black Love, and they were talking about that on one of their live series. And Cody Oliver, who is the one of the owners of that show, she said it depends on what your partner hears or when they say that, because some people hear happy wife, happy life, and they think the husband is saying, oh well, my thoughts and opinions don't matter. It don't matter what I say or do, as long as I keep my wife happy, we gonna be happy. And that's kind of,
I know. I know some people like that. I know some people like that. And you mess around and lose
yeah,
yourself trying to
yeah,
accommodate your significant
yeah,
other and deplete yourself. There has to be a balance. Even when you get into relationships, that man should have a vision and that woman should have a vision. And you should be working on your individual visions, and you should have a vision for your family as
yeah.
well. So, and I think a lot of times we as women, when we get married, although being the help meet means that we help the man to meet his vision, because that's what the help me meet means. He's supposed to have the vision for the family, and we're supposed to help him meet that
But I have to
need,
be in agreement
meet
with
that.
that vision. You can't just unilaterally say, this is the vision for the family without consulting me, because maybe I have some additions or some corrections to that too. So while you may have a vision, I want to make sure that our vision incorporates my vision.
They must be in alignment. But now let me say this: leave grace, leave grace, leave enough room for grace, because ultimately, if the male, and this is to the male, if the male um, decides to not utilize your input, okay? Because I think a lot of times, oh, I'm probably gonna get a lot of pushback on this. I'm probably gonna get a lot of pushback on this. I'm pretty sure of it. But a lot of times, um, the male vision is the primary vision of the house. So if he makes a mistake, it's not your responsibility, because he responds and answers to God. So when he is not fulfilling his obligations, baby, that has nothing to do with you. That's between him and God. So know your role. Know your role. So if the plan fails, if the plan fails, it is his responsibility to be the one to take that slack up, because that's what I'm saying. He's saying it's not true. Mark is saying it's not true.
Mark,
I say it is true. Because the reason why I say that is because if the plan fails, he got to be the one to answer to God for the plan failing. If he was the one who made the vision.
I hear what you're saying. I just can't sit in a car and watch you about to make a mistake and I'm not going to say nothing. I can't do it.
But guess what? Just because you say something don't mean he ain't gonna not make the mistake. That's all I'm saying. Leave room for grace for that, because men are not going to do everything that we want them to do as it pertains to the house. And when they choose to go against the grain, now tell the truth. Now, when the truth is, when it don't work out in their behalf, I won't even say, "Oh, I told you so," because at the end of the day, you was the one that made the decision that led to the disappointment. And when you came to me about it, I told you that it was a no-go. And if you decided to make a mistake, you are accountable, not me.
Yes. Now, I love that. I love that, because then if I'm sitting in the car, I can't sit by and watch you make a mistake. I'm not built like that. I'm gonna say, hey.
But what if you don't know that the mistake is being made, and he just blatantly he talked to you about it, or she talked to you about it?
Then I would tend to agree with you. Then don't ask me to help you. I'm gonna need you to fix what you made, what mistake you made. I'm gonna need you to fix it. I might not say I told you so. I might not give you grief for it, but I'm gonna need you to go ahead, because if you didn't consult me and you went and
but even if you did consult me and you still chose to go do what I said not to do, and there are repercussions, you are accountable, not me. Not me. Because see, and you don't even got to play that "I told you so" type thing with the male or the female. Because if y'all done sat there and had a whole collaboration about it, and you chose to be different, baby, there's no need for me to come back and poke at you, because you know you was wrong.
So I wonder if there are people out there that would disagree that if our partners make a mistake.
My husband is one of them. He just said he disagrees.
Let me finish. If our partners disagree with a vision, a goal, a lane, and they go and make that decision to do opposite of what I was feeling or telling them, is it my responsibility to help because I was just in real time, I was sitting there hearing me say, "Don't ask me." But I know that if you made a mistake, I told you beforehand that it was a mistake, and you still went ahead and did it, am I going to help you get out of that mistake? Is it my responsibility as your...
Yeah. I'm going to help you get out of it, because my assigned position is a help me. So we're a team. I'm never going to negate the fact that we're not a team.
We're a team when you make a mistake. We're a team when you make a mistake, but we're in a team when it comes to the vision.
Well, all I'm saying is if the person don't agree with the vision, remember, this is what got them into place to begin with, not adhering to whatever the vision was. And if they decide to go against the grain, because ultimately I could tell my husband, okay, we got the money now, let's go ahead and pay up the rent for the rest of the year. Let's just pay the rent up for the rest of the year, because we need to save for a big something going on. And let's just go ahead and take our savings and pay for the rest of the year. And let's take our weekly checks and do X, Y, and Z. Okay? And we failed to do it. And whatever that big thing that we were saving for, when the time comes for us to have it fully paid, we are behind because we didn't do what I said. I was forecasting. Yeah. So I knew that we needed, while we got the funds, let's go ahead and pay the rent for the rest of the year, or the mortgage for the rest of the year. And let's go ahead and focus on getting this big event thing that we're trying to do out the way. And when the time comes, we done been in preparation, we done invited people and all of this stuff. But now we crunch time on coming up with them extra funds, because we didn't prepare way back when I was telling us to prepare, and now we got an issue. I'm frustrated, you frustrated, and I might be bound to say, well, you know what, baby? We talked about this last year. The plan was supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and we didn't do it. Who is responsible then? Who would you point the finger at then? Who would you do it? See, as long as it's good for you, and you're not the one that needs to be accountable, and the woman is the one that needs to be accountable, then, there's grace given there. But when the shoe is on the other foot and the male is the culprit, they don't want that smoke. They don't want it.
Don't make me get on that damn conversation right there.
Get on the conversation.
Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. What you got to say, Mark?
Come get on it. Come get on it.
Come
Go
on,
get your
Mark.
phone and come get on it. He's talking about, don't make me come get on that conversation. Come get on.
Mark said he got something to say.
He don't think we gonna accept what he say. We want you to get on there. It's other men on here. Come get on it.
My cousin said, Erica says, depending on what it is and how it impacts our family or household.
On real phone, what you talking about?
Mark, we can't hear you. Come on now. Come on here where we can hear you.
He's trying to get some low-key clout. If he ain't getting on this live, it's null and void. I ain't want to. He said he coming. He said, let him eat his sandwich.
Okay, all right. My cousin said, right, and now I got to say I told you so, and don't ask me nothing realistically speaking. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I got mixed feelings. And here's why. I have literally been in a situation where my husband told me something to do.
Your husband told you what now?
And I ain't coming as you think I'm going.
Baby, just come if you come. Just come. We talking. So while you talking, it's interrupted. I'm sorry. He getting all hyped up. He ready to come. So I can't wait for him to come.
So I had a situation where my husband has told me something, right? He's told me something to do. And I didn't want to do it. And I didn't do it. And it kept backfiring on me day after day. And he let me keep making that mistake, and he never said one thing until I got frustrated enough to where I said, you sit and watch me fail every single day doing this XYZ, right? And I don't think that it's cool for a partner, we're supposed to be partners, for you to watch me do XYZ time after time, and you sit there and watch me fail. It's one thing if you're trying to teach me a lesson one time, right? But if you let me do it day after day after day after day, 2 weeks later, you still let me make that mistake, and you see that it's not being beneficial to me and what I have going on, whatever it is. You know what he said? He said to me, he said, but I told you you needed to do XYZ and you didn't listen. And I said, yeah, you're right. I should be doing XYZ, but I didn't. And instead of you picking me up or helping me, you just sitting and watching me fail.
But guess what, Shonda? He did help you. He gave you the advice on what to do. You didn't execute.
But still, it's the same scenario in what you was just talking about. If your partner makes a mistake, even if they don't consult you, even if they ignore your advice, it's still your job to help them.
I agree with that now. I agree.
So
I agree.
It's the same thing. It don't matter who's who. If I don't listen to your advice and we are partners, if you sit and watch me fail day after day and you don't do nothing about it, you don't help me not make that mistake. Hey, I'm gonna take care of this right here because I know you're struggling with that for whatever reason. Then we're gonna have a big. You won't just keep watching me fail because if I fail, we fail.
Well, we talking about accountability. When he said, and I know we're not just talking about you, we're not talking about you, we're just talking in general. But if your husband or wife did come to you and say, I told you to do X, Y, and Z and you didn't do it, did you, and I'm talking he or she, take accountability for what you didn't do that caused you to be in that situation? Because we got to go back to that too. We can't let it be one side to have accountability and the other side not take accountability. We still got to come to the product, the conflict resolution of it all. But that got to be both ways. You got to still take that accountability too.
And the accountability is for me making the mistake. You know what, babe, you're right. But just because I made that mistake does not mean that you get to absolve yourself from any consequences for not helping me make a better choice going forward. You see me making a mistake and you don't help me make a better choice. And even if I don't exactly follow what your advice was, even if I say, okay, well, I can't do that. I can't do what you're asking, and I also am failing with trying to do. So let's come up with a different scenario. Maybe it would involve not necessarily doing what you say. Maybe you come and help do this, and it could be some other compromise that we could have that don't mean that I gotta do exactly what you said when you said it, because that's ego.
Right.
That's ego. What that is. If you feel like the only way to do something is the way that you want to do it, and if somebody doesn't follow,
it's your way or no
that's
way.
right. Then that's not productive, because there could be multiple ways to skin a cat, and it don't have to be your way. Now, my way might be slower.
Absolutely.
My way might be going all around the world, and your way could have been a straight shot, but still it handles. It's the same thing like when we talk about when we're talking about cleaning and things like that, and roles and all of that. You know, maybe my partner don't clean the way that I clean, but it's still getting clean. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about the fact that you ain't cleaning like me. I'm just grateful at the fact that you clean it all, you know? So it's kind of like in that same vein. It's like, you know, we still getting this completed. We still getting this, you know, to the end goal, but I don't have to do it like you say just because you say it.
Right. Right. I totally agree with that, because just like you say, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
So,
and I think
I'm in total agreement with that.
think any partner that looks at it like, I'm not going to help you unless you do it my way, that's ego.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Look, my cousin, that's exactly what it is.
That's true. That's true. You still gonna get that. Somebody mentioned that the other day. I don't know who I was talking to my ex-brother-in-law last week, and he was talking. He said, if you leave from Orangeburg to get to Bowman, whether you take Highway 21, 178, or 301, when you make a turn, you're gonna eventually end right back up in Bowman. And it's true.
That's true. It don't matter what road we take as long as we get there. But some people will say the quickest way from Orangeburg to Bowman is taking Highway 178, when really, depending on where you live at in Bowman, because we never took Highway 178 when we lived out in the country. We always take I-26.
Because it put you closer to Ebenezer property. I mean,
that's right. It put me closer to Ebenezer Road, where we used to live out there in the country. So, you know, I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing when you're trying to hash something out. And if you will only work with somebody when they're following exactly what you say, you're going to have problems. And that's why I'm conflicted about it, because I was just saying, when you mess it up, you got to fix it up. But I've been in that situation, and I didn't like how that feels. I didn't like how that felt. Well, I really didn't. I didn't like how you sitting here, see me struggling, and you ain't being a good partner. You know? So
that's true. I don't see Mark yet.
Yeah, my cousin, exactly. We may not take the route to Orangeburg, but we both get there. That's right. That's what it is.
That's the truth.
Let me see. Andrea says, so what if you told your spouse each day that decision is a mistake and they still do it their way and it blows up in their face? Are you absolved at that point? I think we're saying no, Andrea. I think we're saying no.
Yeah.
We're saying no. You're still not absolved. You still got to help your partner. What them vows say? What them vows say?
Listen, you are a team, so you in it to win it. If he fails, you fail. If she fails, you
That's
fail.
Right.
If he win, you win. If she win, you win.
Take account. If any partner loses, the whole system loses.
Right.
Take accountability. My cousin says, take accountability and then see what we can do as a team to find a resolution. Yes. But you got to be open to the resolution or the route or the path to success or to the end goal may not be made up entirely out of one person's vision.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Let me see. My cousin said there's always a lesson from mistakes. Yeah, there's always a lesson. And I think my lesson for me was I just can't do that. I can't do it.
Your cousin Jackie said, "This is good stuff, ladies, and so much of this is biblical. I love it. Keep it up, and God bless you both. Much success with this. I have missed my bedtime. LOL." That was Jackie.
She said that way back.
Yeah, we get ready.
Look, she said that way back. She's still commenting.
Oh, yeah. This conversation has gotten really good, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback.
Did we read, or you read, I think you read Miss Celestine comment. Let me see. Keela was saying something about that.
Jackie also said some people don't know how to ask questions. We just assume. I remember when she said that back when. That's very true. When you get ready to talk and try to conflict resolve something, some people don't have the.
Yeah, and I think you just brought it back to my brain so quickly. Therapy is good so that you learn the language. Some of us don't have the language to speak to our partners. We can't adequately describe what it is that we're feeling or what we're trying to say. And I think you were alluding to it earlier when you said sometimes it might not even be the exact thing, like you can't pinpoint it. It might be that I feel like you don't consider me, right? Like it might not be that I'm mad you left the toilet seat up, or that you left the closet open, or you left the drawers open and things like that. I'm saying that you don't consider me. I'm not mad that you didn't bring them banana nut muffins home. What I'm mad about is that there are so many things that I can point to in this house where you are being inconsiderate of your wife. And so learning the language, in consideration, thoughtfulness, all of those things, we need to learn the language so that our partners can get it. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling all of remember the emotions wheel. There's so many different things. And so going to people who are qualified, and authorized to really help us get that language, that'll be so good.
But you said something good that I want to speak on that kind of goes back to a previous live that we did. Being able to effectively communicate with your spouse. Oh, look at that, language to effective communication. Look at Erica said it just as I was bringing it out my mouth. Exactly. Being able to effectively communicate is key, because suppose there's an issue and it's an issue and it's been lingering for a long time, but for the sake of peace, you don't know how to bring it up. You don't even know how to articulate it. Just like you said, you don't even know the words to kind of maybe bring it all together.
Yeah.
You may not even want to bring it up because you feel like it's going to fester into something else.
Yeah.
But what I've learned about relationships, conversation is key. Conversation is key.
Yeah.
And talking your feelings out is key. Like, it's okay to tell your spouse that, they make you feel some type of way when they do or say
that hurt my feelings.
You hurt my feelings. And I had a hard time saying that in times past. But I tell my husband quick now. And I think I enjoy telling him that now because he wants to resolve,
Yeah.
He wants to resolve. So he might say, "Baby, I hurt your feelings," or "That wasn't my intent." Then he start buttering me up and I feel so warm and fuzzy inside. So being able to communicate that
and be received and not be met with defensiveness.
Right.
Because if I tell you hurt my feelings, and then you say, "Oh, that hurt your feelings? Why are you hurt by that?"
I'm glad you said that. You just hit the nail on the head. That took me back to something Mark taught me a while back. And oh God, you triggered me just now when you said something. Repeat what you just said, Shonda. That last thing, right when I stopped.
When you tell somebody that hurt my feelings and they receive it without feeling defensive about it.
Stop right there. That's good. I remember Mark telling me a while back that we had to both understand that when we come into each other about what we feeling, regardless to whether that was our intent to make that person feel that way or not, we have to take their feelings at face value and own that. You may not want to take or even accept or want to accept responsibility for them feeling that way, but it's good to acknowledge, well, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. That was not my intent, and just and clarify that, because if you let that linger and they tell you it makes you feel a way and they don't address that, that might lead you to believe that they meant to make you feel that.
And I'm going to tell you also, for me, words are important. The words you use are important, and especially in an apology. When you mess up and you say, well, I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings. I don't like the if word in an apology.
That and that's what you learn in therapy too. You're not supposed to say that because that hurt your feelings. I'm sorry.
There you go. I'm telling you that it hurt my feelings. So there is no question about it. So there should be no if. It should be,
there you go.
I'm sorry because I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. That's it. Not if I hurt, because it's almost like you're not even really sure or believing that you yeah. And that leaves room for if you hurt my feelings, I'm telling you specifically that you did. So there ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So when we're doing that, wow, Rashonda, another great conversation.
This is good.
This is so good.
We haven't failed yet, Shonda.
And what I'm learning too is that yes, we can have a topic that is, centered on something, but what I'm learning is that this is all interconnected. And that's why it is so easy to get off on other lanes, of a tangent. It's not even necessarily a tangent because it really is connected. And what we're talking about here is family dynamics this week. We're talking about, blending families. We're talking about even living with your in-laws, cohabitating with in-laws and things like that. And it can be tricky, but ultimately it's everything that you just got finished saying. Communication, it's about, if there's an argument, not giving unsolicited advice. It's about staying in your lane, right? It's about keeping
conflict resolution.
Yeah, keeping the main thing the main thing. It's not about getting distracted. But sometimes you might have to step up and tell somebody to mind their business, right? You might have to do that. You might have to say, hey, I apologize. I made a mistake. Hey, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I didn't intend to do that, right? You might have to apologize. Be okay with you not being right all the time. Because maybe I like using your words now. There could be areas that you need to pull up in.
Right. And it's okay that you need to pull up. We're not judging.
Yeah.
Because we all growing. Even as we have these conversations, we hold each other accountable, even in our daily lives. So we're not talking just to bump our gums here. We're trying to live this thing.
You see what Miss Terry said?
What Miss? Oh yeah, Miss Terry.
Miss Terry said, if the if was a fifth, we would be drunk, honey.
What?
If the word if every time you heard the word if was a fifth.
Because that's a conditional word. If is a conditional word, it got to be something coming behind
it. Yes. Okay, let me see what Carrie said. Now, see, this goes back to The other,
Thank you, Karen. She said sometimes our feelings need to be hurt. Yes, that makes us pull up.
yeah. Well, no, I said that too quick. Hey, now, whoa, whoa. Listen, I'm real sensitive, and sometimes people will make you think that your emotions should be removed from situations, but I think
No.
emotions are helpful. I used to be in a relationship with someone who always said you need to remove your emotions from it and just think logically, and it's like, no, because I'm a human and so are you. I was being gaslit, but that's another story.
But I'm not disagreeing on being in your feelings, because some of getting your emotions out, well, all of getting your emotions out, in my humble opinion, is healthy. Knowing how to proportionalize them is where it becomes tricky, because sometimes people overwhelm themselves in their emotions and they don't know how to move past the situation.
Ooh, you know what? I'm glad you said that. So Keisha's mom was buried yesterday. The funeral was yesterday. We went to
Mhm.
it, and the pastor, which is one of her family members, he spoke on being in the valley. He was quoting the scripture. Woe do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, right? I walk through the valley.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't
That's
saying
that's
that.
exactly
Right.
what he said. He said, while you
Yes.
might be in the valley, don't don't build a bed and lay in it. Don't lay down in the valley. Get up and
Come
walk
on. Ooh,
through. We all might go through the valley.
girl, I got chills. I don't know if you can see them, girl. I got chills.
Yes,
Ooh,
yes. So
because you don't got to stay
you don't
there.
have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. So walk through the valley. You know, oh man, I wanted to read what my cousin was saying. Now, see, this goes back to the other part of the conversation, because they can tell us not to do something because of the outcome, and we still do it, and now but our feelings get hurt, and we looking at them sideways when we could have been open-minded and take their advice for a change. That's true.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what that's called: pride.
That's true.
Sometimes we let our pride take
That's true.
control.
That's true. Raise your hand in the comments if you ever let pride take control of a situation.
I've done it in times past. Miss Celestine saying sometimes a person may not even know that they even hurt the other person's feelings if they don't communicate with them, and then the hurt party just shut down. Come on, Miss Celestine, and you try to figure out what you said wrong.
Let me
Ooh,
tell
that's a
you
whole topic.
something. Ooh, Miss.
You talking better. You talking better than anybody gonna listen right now, because you talking good up in here.
Ooh, let me. Okay, that's so good. I'm speechless. That's so good. Oh my God, that's so good. You know what?
That's
You
real
know
good.
what? And I'm gonna tell you this. Maybe I'm overgeneralizing. I think men are more prone to that than women. I think that men don't like to say that something hurt their feelings, right?
Oh yeah, I can agree to
So
that.
instead of acknowledging the feeling of being hurt, they just shut down. And they can shut down in a myriad of ways. The shutdown could look like, I'm not talking to you right now. The shutdown could look like, I'm not going to give you affection. The shutdown could look like, I'm going to ignore you when like, it could be so many things, you know.
You know what? I think some men, and I'm not going to put all men in this classification. And this response came from a male, my husband, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. Men know that women weaponize their feelings. We take their feelings at the most vulnerable and inconvenient times, and we smear campaign it sometimes. We do that, women. And we want to inflict pain because we've been hurt. And
Hurt people,
so
hurt people.
we get into this.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people, hurt people. So And I'm gonna tread lightly here because a part of this been on my or a little bit been stepping on my toes. So I'm gonna tread lightly. Um, but it's true. And so we say and do things that we know may inflict pain because we've had pain inflicted on us. And the male is not wired like us, like I told y'all before. They will shut down, on, any, extended conversation or having to be vulnerable, if you will, to women because we don't use those tools for the right ways. Now, if we took those tools and we nurtured them and we pressed upon and build upon a good foundation with the knowledge of their feelings, we would be winning it in general as a people, as a women. But we inflict pain with the knowledge of their hurt and the vulnerability of their feelings. And so if we can, develop a soft side, and I'm gonna just be honest, some women, I won't say most women, some women have a masculine demeanor. We are very strong, we are very direct, and that comes off as masculine. And I think what is nice for us to do, and I'm consciously trying to do it myself now, because I've always wanted to, be defending myself and make sure I provide for me. And, you just team Rashonda and independent. But we need to be able to tap into our femininity. Let them be in control. It's okay. Let our guards down. Get soft. We don't have to always have it together. We don't have to always know. And if we got the right male on our team, even if we don't got the right male on our team, just like you said before, allowing them to lead. And like you even said, Shonda, even allowing them or them allowing us to make mistakes so that we can make some progress. And see, think about it. How can you know somebody's weaknesses if A, they don't tell you, or B, they haven't operated in their weaknesses to even identify them? I know my areas of weakness. Saving money is an area of weakness for me. That is a strength for my husband.
Yeah.
Okay. There are other areas where I have strengths, and organization is definitely a strength he has. But putting bills and budgeting them into an organizational chart or an Excel spreadsheet is something that I do. He has the capability of doing it, but I want to be detailed. Yeah. So if we took $50 off of gas, I'm gonna be trying to get over into the Excel spreadsheet and try to put that $50 where it need to go. So I know my strengths. He knows his. The fact that his strengths are not my strengths makes us a team. We focus on the areas that we can do best in, just like you and I, Shonda.
Yeah.
Even with us doing this, there are areas that you are more strengthening, and I sit back and I let you do you. And there are areas where you feel I have strength, and you sit back and let me do me. And we're okay with that. We don't need to shine in the areas that we're. Now, what I have said to you is the areas that you have strengths, I would like for you to teach me. And the areas that I have strengths, I would like to teach you, because a good leader does not want to have followers. They want counterparts. They want to be able to. They want counterparts. So they want to be able to reach back and pull you back from your strengths and be able to give you your strength. And I consider myself to be a leader. There's nothing about me that wants followers. I want to have leaders in my circle.
And another good sign of a good leader is identifying where maybe there is somebody who has who has another strength that you don't, and allowing them to do. That's the sign of a leader. Delegating. You don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to do it. I want to talk about the masculine and feminine energy. And I think sometimes we sort of correlate masculine energy to being strong and being knowledgeable and being providers and being, all of these great positive terms, right? And then we sort of correlate feminine energy to being the opposite of that, which if those are positive, if masculine is positive, then it almost feels like feminine is negative, right? And so I want us to understand that everybody, men and women have both masculine and feminine energy. And especially, you know, us ambitious women, we have those characteristics as well. As a matter of fact, they have worked very well for us because we have done well in our lives. You know, speaking forward, you know, being decisive, delegating, being leaders, and all of that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And diminishing that, I think, is actually sometimes that can be an affront to our femininity, because feminine is strength in itself, right?
Right.
So I don't always like to phrase it like that, like you know, being masculine is such good and powerful and strong, and then feminine is like this flower. Like flowers have thorns too.
Well, understand this, and that's a great point. I think that's a great point. But when you really understand femininity, you realize that there is strength there, and we don't have to take on all of the masculine energy to exist and to be into a being. Right. As a matter of fact,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
As a matter
I'm
of
not
fact,
saying. I'm not saying only be masculine. I'm just saying that there are some instances, like we all oscillate between the both things for whatever reason and in different circumstances. And so, you
right.
know, when I'm at work and when I'm in my element, you're going to see what people would deem as masculine, because I'm a leader at work. I am a business owner. And then you have people challenging that because they think that, you know, I'm supposed to.
But why does that have to display masculinity? Because you're a leader and you are an entrepreneur. Like, I know very strong women that they sashay in their walk. They are very feminine. They own their femininity, and is nothing about me that doesn't make me think that they're a boss. Dr. T is a prime example of that. But she has a masculinity. She'll tell you that. I'm only saying this because she said it. But she knows how to embrace her femininity.
Yes.
And that's all I'm saying. Just embrace that. And you don't have to own the masculinity all of the time.
Right. But I was just using the characteristics that we all think of when we think about masculine energy. You know, you just, what you did was prove the point that I'm making, is that we all encompass that.
I agree with you all along. Yeah. I agree with you all along. Yeah. All I'm saying is tap more into her instead of trying to be him and her, or more him. Or more him.
But because we are both things, it's not a him and her. It's not. It's,
to a degree, it is.
I guess we just gonna have to disagree on that point. Then I
want to hear more though. I want to hear more.
Like I said, I just think that we operate in both things, and I think that, you know, to say that feminine is this and masculine is this, you know, when it's really more like that, right? It's more like that. And some of us kind of like are in the middle because we can grab those things. And sometimes having, you know, grabbing what we all say are those masculine characteristics, those are the things that make us boss women, boss chicks. You know, those things make us leaders. And women have ruled nations before, you know, and so it's not out of character, and it's not being feminine to rule, to lead, to you know, build, to, you know, all of us come from strong people that have, you know, raised, provided, and done things that we would traditionally put in the category of masculine. Like I was raised by a single parent who worked, who provided by herself. She didn't get no child support. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like she did all of those things. And I know she would have probably not wanted it that way, but she had to. And so I wouldn't characterize my mother as masculine. I would characterize her as feminine. She just stepped into some of those adjectives. So I just, for me, I'm careful about.
I guess we probably need to understand or even define masculine energy, because to me, when I hear the word rule, build, or lead, especially in today's society, nothing about that makes me hear that that's the characteristics of a male. There are certainly women that rule, build, and lead. So I don't know.
But
Maybe we need to get a clarity on masculine energy.
yeah, yeah,
Let's do that.
yeah.
Because nothing about that makes me think I would be performing as a masculine energy because I want to rule, because I want to build, because I do those things.
As some men, what are some characteristics? The thing that men will say are some of those adjectives that we are using. So it's not just me. I'm not making this up. If you ask some men, what are some characteristics of being masculine? What are some characteristics of being a man? They would describe they would describe some of those things that the number one thing that men will say is being a provider, right? That's being a man. So
Jacqueline says strength is not defined as masculinity nor femininity if I follow correctly.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But in the traditional sense of masculine and feminine, you know, we sort of use those words to describe all the good words, all the really great ones, you know, we put in the category of masculine. And then all of the not so good words, or even if it's a good, like soft, you know, if you tell somebody, oh, I'm soft, that has a connotation of negativity. Because if we out here warring, or we at odds, do I want a strong person or do I want a soft person? Like that's what it feels like. I'm saying it feels like that when we use those words. It feels like that.
When I think about soft, a lot of different things come to mind, both negative and positive. But when I add the word soft to a male, I think negative connotation automatically.
That's right.
To a degree, because my husband also uses the terminology when we get cleaned up and we get, you know, we dress real nice and we going out, and like, say for instance, he getting ready to, you know, put on something real suave. He'd be like, yeah, baby, I'm about to get real soft. I know what he mean by that. I don't think that there's nothing about my husband that would make me think he's a soft man.
But
so
see how you had to put that in quotes? That's what I'm saying. If when you put it in quotes, it's because we want to make sure that we're talking about the tradition. We're talking about the traditional sense of the word, right? So that's why we put it in quotation. So that's what I'm saying. Well, if a man was to call another man soft, they would have a problem. But
I think it's all perspective, and also, you know, and then even use the word dope. You talk about the word dope, and you know you're talking about drugs. Obviously, there's a negative connotation. But if you say, "Oh, I like your hair," it's dope. That's a compliment. So it's all in perspective.
But I feel like a lot of it is based in misogyny, and here's what I say. When we call, like when men are talking, right? They be like, man, you PUSSY. I don't know if I can say that on Facebook, but you that word. We're talking about our body part, right? Our body part. So that is a negative word to another man, but you're describing a woman's body part. And so a lot of us, a lot of people see all of the negative words describe women, and all of the powerful, strong, good words describe men or masculinity. And
Well, they say we're in a man's world, so you know. But what did James Brown say? It would be nothing
yeah, yeah.
if he's confident within himself. He wouldn't care about a man calling him soft. Listen, it's not what they call you, it's what you respond to.
Yeah, but words are important.
It's what you
Words are important. And we can sit here and say that words don't hurt, but they absolutely do. Words scar you in the places that people cannot see.
that's true.
And so I can sit here and act all day long like somebody, calling me a B don't hurt my feelings. But it might, depending on who it is and in the context that they say it. So words do hurt.
Who's taking your thoughts? Who's taking your thoughts, Jackie?
Let me see. Carrie said, I understand because I'm a leader and that's all I know how to be. And it comes off too masculine to certain people and they don't know how to take me. Especially in corporate America,
Me too,
this is
Carrie.
exactly the point that I'm making, especially in corporate America. Like, I think it's that some people just don't want to hear from women. And so if you have a voice, if you are outspoken, if you are opinionated, it doesn't matter what your outward appearance look like. I could be dressed to the nines with a dress on, heels on, makeup done, hair laid, everything. And because I exist as a woman, my nothing I could do could be soft enough because especially when you don't want to hear nothing I gotta say. So
I really want to go back to what Jackie said because she made a great point, and I was thinking about it earlier, and I'm so glad she put this up. She says men are raised to be hard from young. Little boys don't cry. They are taught to not be sensitive. Then they become men and are expected to be mindful of our feelings. Come on through here,
now you're
sister.
right about that.
That's just another perspective when it comes to men and emotions. Therefore, some men shut down because they don't know what to do. And that's a great
That's a good
opinion.
point.
That's a great
That's a
opinion.
good point. That's a good point. And it's true.
And they're to shut their feelings off for the sake of others.
Yep.
So we need to be reminded that they have feelings
Yeah.
too.
Yep. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why we have to be careful about describing and
Labeling.
labeling those words, because it can be deadly when used the wrong way. It's signaling to men that they can't exist they can't exist on the other side of the spectrum. Like, they can't be soft sometimes. They can't have a soft hand. They can't, have emotions and say that hurt my.
They can't cry.
They can't cry. So we just have to be careful about saying this right here is a man and this right here is a woman. Although, some things are just blatant, like you just you understand. But I think that a lot of this, and we have to be careful, a lot of it is built in misogyny, and that stuff a lot it just causes divisiveness, and that's not ever what I want to be doing.
Oh, y'all bringing some great comments in here. Erica says, I went through that with an NCO, an officer in the Army. Insecure men cannot handle a strong, intelligent female, especially one who does as well, if not better, especially since I was always around combat arms men. Wow. Jackie says, it's not what you are called, it's what you answer to. Hello. Words do hurt, but we won't always change the world, but we can change the world around us. Our environment, we live in a world where everyone has their opinion. We can't change them, but we can change our response to it.
Listen.
Hello, somebody.
Changing your environment, that is changing the world. Because if we all sought to make this a better place, it would change the world. It would.
Mr. Lestine came with a good one. She said, it's the same if they call some women hard.
Yeah.
Come on, and men soft is the masculinity for women, femininity for a man.
Yeah.
That's
if
true.
you call a man feminine, you gonna have to fight.
Yeah, he gonna throw them hands.
Yes. And to call a woman hard,
But if you call her hard, that might be a compliment to her, especially if she a fighter.
but let's think about entertainers. Like I heard Nicki Minaj say one time that she started to get labeled a diva and difficult, right, in the industry, even though she was
Who was it?
Nicki Minaj, the rapper. She
Okay.
said, but she used to be on tour with Lil Wayne when she wasn't as famous and he was like, on top.
Mhm.
And she don't do nothing now that he didn't do then. But see, men can get away with diva-ish behavior. Like a man saying, no, you did that wrong. I don't want to do that. That's looked at as, oh, he just being a boss. But if a woman says, no, you did that wrong, do it again, that's, oh, she being difficult. Or she being hard.
Or she bossy.
Yeah, she bossy, right. She ain't a boss, she bossy.
Come on.
Yes, yes. And it's looked at as, it has a negative connotation.
Absolutely.
So
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
Well, listen.
It could be the delivery. Absolutely, Andrea. How you bring that out exactly.
I think y'all okay. I hate being tone police, right? I hate being tone police. I hate when someone misses the message because they say my tone is off, when really what it is, you just don't want to hear the message in general. It don't matter how I deliver it. I can deliver it with the best tone. I can deliver it quiet. But the fact that I have a voice in any way, they don't want to hear it. She was saying you kept taking her thoughts.
I saw that. I know why, Jackie, because we probably getting the principal, a lot of the principal from the same place. You know what I mean by that. Yeah, so this was really good.
Okay, yeah. See, not lower. We was at the 2-hour mark. Now we at the 3-hour mark. Okay.
Let's get off.
All right, so we're just gonna wrap this up. I definitely appreciate you guys. Andrea said, I'm not going to be receptive to if your tone is nasty. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people say that, but they don't tone police men.
Right.
If a
Right.
man's tone is a certain way, we just like, oh, that's just, he just being a man. Like, we give men passes for doing the same things, But that's just my opinion. But I appreciate you guys.
Ooh, Carrie brought up a good one. I gotta say this. The tone can also trigger past traumas. We talked about that last week.
And that's really what it is in relationships, no matter whether it's business relationships, romantic relationships, platonic relationships. It's all we're doing in any type of relationship is we are in relationship with that person's traumas. And so, and that's why it's just good to have all of those conversations.
And then with ours, because it's a mutual, because we got our own drama too, and all our own, struggles.
Amen.
So, and we talked about that before too. And so what you're doing is this, and what you really should be trying to do is get to the root of your issues, and then try to conflict resolve.
Yeah, and if you can't do it, if you don't have the language of communication, if you don't,
Therapy.
Yeah, go to therapy. Go to therapy. So we're gonna leave it there. We can go, y'all know we can go on and on. We can be on here all night long. And
Yeah, we get our talk show. When we get our talk show, we have a segmented amount of time. I'm going to put that in the atmosphere. When our TV show gets here, we'll be able to be a little more structured. We all over the road now, but see, we know what's
yeah,
going on.
I would love to see you guys post on social media. Um, any takeaways from these conversations that we had, even if it was one from last week or the week before or the week before last, the first week or the second week. And whatever you post about it, just use the hashtag conversations with the Shondas or hashtag the Shondas, and that way we can find it. Who is it?
And let me just let y'all know, don't let Shonda's name on Facebook confuse you all. The Shondas is Shanda. Okay.
I'm gonna change my name, but I thought I
Just
did,
so,
but I gotta change it.
no, because I see, and we understand why it's what, but when you use the hashtag, because we want to be able to, if we go back, we want to see it trend. So it's Shanda. Just so you all know, the Shondas or conversations with the Shondas. Use one of those hashtags. You can go back to any past video, even tonight, if you want to, put down my takeaways and jot down 2 or 3 things and just because we're gonna go back and look at this stuff. So, y'all hashtag us and let us know. We want to make sure that y'all are staying connected to us also. Yeah. And just to throw a plug in here, we're not going to be here on Facebook forever.
Right. So make sure you guys are staying tuned. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad to be back. We took last week's Tuesday and Thursday off because we had a myriad of things going on. But I'm so happy to be back. This week was definitely a success. Any last words you wanna leave everybody with, or we good to go?
No, I'm gonna let you have at it. It's your night.
All right. So make sure you guys are, like I said, following us on all social on Facebook, and not only just following, not only just being our friends, but making sure that you are following us. I did get a bunch of requests from people as well, so make sure that if you're not, because you're not gonna, if you're watching this or if you watching the recording of this later on, and you may want to get on one Tuesday or Thursday night at 7 o'clock and comment. You're not going to be able to comment if you're not friends with one or both of us. And so make sure you befriend us, send us a friend request, but also follow us on social media so that you can get those immediate and prioritized notifications whenever we go live. And we're going to be tampering with some new software and things like that. So you might not always get notifications on one person's Facebook page. So make sure you're at least following the both of us. That way, not following, friends with the both of us, so that you will get it whichever page we're on. And in case we didn't make it clear, on Tuesday nights we go live on Rashonda Mack's page, and on Thursday nights we go live on my page, Shonda Stevens. And I'm going to change my name and spell it right, because it ain't spelled right now, but I wanted to make sure people said it right, because people are calling me LaShanda, and that's not my name.
Yeah, I knew exactly when you did that what the reason was, because I'm tired of getting called Shanda too, and I'm like, it's Shonda.
Yeah.
But I see Miss Celestine and Miss Terry gassing me up about this talk show. Miss Celestine says, "We know we waiting on your talk show." Miss Terry said, "That's right. I can't wait until the show comes into existence." Glory, hallelujah. I know y'all just started pray for us, because we already believing and receiving over here. Y'all going and speaking into existence with us.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, ma'am.
And probably very soon. Probably sooner than you think.
Sooner than you think. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's all I got. It's been a really great conversation talking about family dynamics, blended families, cohabitating with in-laws. All of the conversations have been great. I just want to remind you guys that we do go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock. Tuesday nights are on Rashonda's page, and Thursday nights are on my page at 7 o'clock. And we just be vibing with y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Make sure to post any takeaways on your social media page using the hashtag Conversations with the Shondas, hashtag the Shondas. And we will see you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Actually, I probably should discuss this with you, but I was even thinking that maybe anybody that cooperates with that tonight and participates, maybe we can have a surprise for them on next week, Tuesday.
We're going to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We might have a little sneak peek for you. Okay. We'll
Right.
see.
Right.
So y'all make sure
Right.
y'all do that. If all hearts and minds are clear, thank you, Miss Terry. We love you too. Thank you for all of the positivity.
Love you.
Good night, y'all. We'll see
Yes,
y'all on Tuesday.
Good night.
That was so good.
It so was.
Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. While I'm doing it.